Hello, and welcome back to the ARK of E podcast. My name is Noah.
And my name is Gavin.
And we're the Blanchard brothers
and
back.
That is a sick opening beat, my friend. Who made that?
I made that.
I feel like I'm walking...
Narc made that.
I feel like I'm walking through the streets of New York in like 1996, just with a big puffy jacket on.
Yeah.
It's cold outside. It's like fall. It's the same time of frame like right now, this time of year. It's getting a little brisk outside. It's not cold yet. But, you know, if you're walking at night, you're going to need a big puffy jacket.
The fall is imminent.
Yeah.
You could say the fall is imminent.
Yeah, exactly.
This is our, end of summer wrap up. Summer kind of...
Summer that wasn't.
Just petered out there.
Yeah.
As far as movies and TV we're concerned. But we're gonna talk about what we've seen in the interim. It's been a little bit. We've had some illnesses. We've had some scheduling conflicts. We've had some people moving, etc. So,
yeah, and
thank
just
you.
Not that much to
and not
really
that much
write
to
home
report
about.
on. Yeah. So we figured it was a good time to take a nice little extended summer break. So if you are in fact listening to this, welcome back, man.
Hey, Mr. Carter,
how you doing?
How's it going?
Yeah. This is going to be very, very free flowing. All I know is towards the end of this. What do you?
I took my cufflinks off.
Oh, okay.
It's off the cuff, baby.
Nobody could see that, but yes, we are off the cuff. The only thing I do know that I want to build to is I want to talk about the stuff that I am excited about because, like I said, things petered out. It was it's been a bummer time at the theater. I haven't been to the theater in a couple weeks. That might be up to a month or so at this point. But yeah, so
I can't think of the last thing I saw in theaters.
Let's maybe start there. Okay, broadly speaking, post Barbie and Oppenheimer, there was another weekend right after that I was very excited about because Talk to Me came out.
Mm-hmm.
Were you aware of this one? It's the new A24 Australian horror.
No.
Did you see trailers? No?
Maybe.
Okay. Should be
now?
rentable or streaming very soon. I will definitely shout that out on the gram whenever it is available streaming. But for my money, the best horror movie of the year so far. Pretty original take on its subject, but basically there's a severed hand that is being used at they're just beyond high school, maybe college age. I don't know. It's vague. But at parties, people are basically doing it on a dare. And you shake this thing's hand, you say, talk to me, and you let essentially a spirit from the other side into you. But you only do it while there's the connection of holding the hand.
Mm-hmm.
So
if you hold it long enough, it'll stay longer? Or?
Essentially. And they have rules about, you only do it for a minute at a time, blah, blah, blah. And of course, it's very early on, people start breaking the rules and things.
Somebody jerks off with it.
I mean, that does not happen, but there is a lot that happens in here that is quite unexpected and pretty visceral. And then on top of that, it does have a good overarching narrative and strong central characters. I really dug it. I'll keep it vague until you've seen it, but that is the one to see in October as far as new ones from this year that you may have missed. It'll be definitely streaming within the next month or so. So yeah, Talk to Me. I saw on the big screen. Not a great theatrical experience. It was packed, which was nice to see. Probably overflow from Barbie and Oppenheimer and people just being like, oh, I like to go into the movies. What else is coming out soon? Yeah. Unfortunately, that led to, horror movies they can go one of two ways with the crowd.
Right.
And if a movie's a particular tone and then people aren't on that same wavelength, then you have people laughing at stuff that you're like, why the fuck are you laughing at this? This is disturbing. And I get that maybe that's your response, but this is no. Anyways, so there was a bit of that, a bit of constant chatter. Brendan did not have a good time because things like that bug him a little bit more than they do me. But still, in spite of all that, still I think the best horror movie I've seen so far this year.
Okay.
Huge recommend. And then I've only been to one other thing since then, and it was a fucking delight.
What was that?
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Yeah,
Mutant Mayhem.
I didn't get to it in theaters, but I'm definitely watching it.
Definitely buyable right now, but has to make its way to Paramount Plus at some point, I would imagine.
It's on Amazon to
That's what I'm saying. To buy right now, I think maybe you can. Maybe it's a rental as well, but eventually it'll be on Paramount Plus. But I would say it's worth it. I'm gonna pick this thing up on Blu-ray. One of my favorite animated movies, basically since Spider-Verse, and just an absolute blast. Whether you're a huge like diehard fan of the franchise or just coming to it for the first time, incredible voice performances across the board. The kids are amazing, but particularly, dude, Jackie Chan as Splinter,
Oh yeah.
and Ice Cube as Superfly are two of like the best vocal performances I've heard in a mainstream like big. Usually you're like, oh, okay, it's got these celebrity voices, but sometimes they can be kind of anonymous
Right.
in animated movies, but these were like leaned into the personality. And honestly, I'm gonna say like probably top 3 English language performances from Jackie Chan in terms of comedy. I was dying, dude. It was so good.
Yeah.
And it's so much fun. It's got a lot of heart. The jokes land, dude. It's super funny. And not to spoil it because you haven't seen it yet, but the things they leave on the table because they know they're going to make another one of these already, you're kind of like, oh my God, they did all of this and they didn't even do the thing that I expected.
Does Casey Jones make an appearance?
No.
Damn it.
Exactly.
That's
But that's what I'm
perfect
saying.
then. Yeah,
but
that's
Casey's
perfect.
he's on the table for 2 and possibly 3. Great time. Total like for me, just a reinvigoration of something that for me had gone a little stale after the Michael Bay produced ones, which I did not care for at all. Yeah, this reminded me why I love the Turtles and totally gave me like a new like version of them at the same time. It was reverential without being like too just like, oh, we're just gonna do a bunch of homages and like fan service. Soundtrack's fucking killer. Like it just
Well, it's like the one that came out before. I think it was just
TMNT, which I think they had. I don't know if there was a series that was already in progress, and then that was the movie that was the escalation or the culmination rather.
Gym Class Heroes did a song for it called Shell Shock, but like that one I enjoyed, and I was like, okay, and it's this weird thing of like in moving, one of the first things that I like pulled out and set underneath the big TV out front was my Ninja Turtles van that has all of the series, like the original series on disc. I was like, I'm just going to put this here because it's here and people see it. But
this is a showpiece.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
So the thing that like drew me in with the trailer with this one was like, never seen this animation style before. Like, it looks amazing.
Have you seen the last 2
No.
Spider-Verse?
And I know that those are like it. And I realize that.
Incredible.
I haven't watched those
incredible
either.
movies.
I'll get around to those, but like that was the anchor point of like, this looks good. And then I'm hearing like, is that Jackie Chan? Is that Ice Cube? You know, like I'm like, oh shit, okay. So and
again, casting actual teenagers
Right.
as the Teenage Mutant Ninja
Right.
Turtles is the main like genius move. If you're just like, why have we never done this?
Right.
Why have we never done this? This
and
is great.
It's so weird because like, so I watched, and this is crazy. I've been painting in the new place, but like I watched the first one, and then a couple days later I watched the second one, and I don't know why it never dawned on me as a child that like Corey Feldman was not Donatello in the second one.
Yeah.
But he comes back for the third one. I'm just kind of like, was this the Dream a Little Dream 2? He was busy like doing all the Corey stuff when they wanted to do the second one?
I'm thinking
or did he
it
want
was
the most money.
He tried to big dog him and
Yeah.
they lowballed him and
Yeah.
he was like, fuck you. And then by the time they roll around to the third one, he's like, yeah, okay. What? Okay.
The phone's
I
really
can
not
come back.
ringing. I can come back for
guys.
scale. I'll do it for scale, guys.
I'll do it for
It's okay.
scale.
Yeah.
I'll do it for scale.
So,
I did Ooze before I went and saw this one, but I was kind of saving the OG. I'll probably go back to that at some point.
it's so good, dude.
And then Turtles in Time or 3, soft spot for nostalgia's sake, but that's clearly the weak
Have we
link.
mentioned like the Samurai Ninja Warrior of it all?
That's
in
what it was
Japan?
called at like the hotel.
Yeah,
right?
dude. So if you travel abroad, you may find that like, at least this, I don't know how this works now because there's no actual physical copies of stuff.
Yeah.
But back in the day, we would stay at this place called the Nusano Hotel, and they had like their own video library that you could rent a movie from. And so we would order, like, we're going to rent this movie. You go down to the front desk, you get it, and it said Samurai Ninja Warrior 3. I'm like, okay. pop it in. It's fucking Turtles in Time. And it's like, oh, okay. That's just what they call this. It was a delight because, yes, we did have it back at home on the air base we lived on. But it's like, I'm in a fancy hotel and I get to watch the Turtles? Who's going to say no to that?
Why do I have a memory of The Hard Way being one of the ones that was watched at the new Sauna?
It was just on TV.
Okay.
Yeah, I remember that.
Word.
That, Predator 2, and like something else I associate with that. But that hotel was dope, dude. It had like the pool on like the 3rd or 4th floor that was still over other buildings and stuff.
That was nice.
Yeah, man.
Very cool. Need to get back to Japan at some point.
Dude,
okay.
Next month will be 10 years since I went. I'm not.
Wait, since you went back?
Yeah, in 2013, dude. It's crazy, right?
Time is a motherfucker.
It
okay.
is.
All right. Sorry. Where were we?
Just stuff we've caught.
Oh, TMNT. That was the last thing I saw in theaters. I had a great time. Yeah, I think that's it. I don't think I've been back to anything else.
And I mean,
I'm checking. I'm literally checking my list.
Remember.
That's how long it's been.
And see, I can't remember. I think Oppenheimer was it, but I don't know if I gone to seen like. I can't remember if I saw Transformers.
Did you ever catch Barbie?
No.
Okay.
I can't remember if I saw
streaming
Transformers
soon enough
before
as well.
or after Oppenheimer. Because when was Oppenheimer? That was like what? July. 1st of July.
It was mid-July or second week in July, I think, is when they both dropped.
So Transformers would have been June. So yeah, so I saw Transformers, and then I saw, because matter of fact, like literally like a week after Oppenheimer, it was like, oh, Transformers is on Paramount now. So, oh, okay, well that's nice. So, and of course I watched it again because I love it. You know?
Well, I still need to get to that one.
Yeah.
Things I've watched since then.
Yeah.
That were just new for me. So the Ringer Podcast Network, they recently did a little limited series. What was the title? Do We Get to Win This Time? Hollywood's version of Vietnam, or so, I forget the subtitle exactly, but 6 or 8 parts, I forget. They go through basically the Vietnam movie boom of the 70s and 80s, and somewhat prompted by that, I was like, what are some big ones that I've never gotten to? And I only did one because it was like, oh, that kind of took it all out of me. I had never seen Casualties of War.
Dude, that's rough.
The Brian De Palma
Yeah.
movie with Sean Penn and Michael J. Fox. Yeah, and it's like, I knew it was going to be a gut punch. I actually borrowed the Blu-ray from my buddy Will, who did an entire like master's thesis on that very topic.
Right.
And so he bought all of I was like, dude, you're never gonna rewatch these. Like, why did you? He's like, some of these, it's like they weren't streaming, they weren't available. So it's just, he was like, I just got them. So anyways, I borrowed it from him months ago and was like, it's just sitting there, and it's one of the, like it's got the plague on it or something, where I'm just like, tonight's not the night. But eventually I'm listening to this podcast and I'm like, all right, they're going to get to this one in like a week or two. I could tell timeline wise. I was like, let me fucking throw it on. And I knew it was going to be a gut punch, and it absolutely wrecked me. It was one of those that just kind of wrecked my whole week, where I just kept thinking about it. I was just like, oh man, it's incredibly well made.
Yeah.
Great performances, but just a very realistic accounting of some very depraved and upsetting shit.
And I think that's what's interesting, because I feel like collectively it's like we have decided that like Coppola and Oliver Stone's visions of Vietnam are what we collectively would like to remember. And it's like, maybe on this one De Palma's got the right idea on some level, but at the same time,
another one that they...
Who wants to live in that headspace where like that's what happened?
Right.
Because you also have to think about, like, as fucked up as that is, those people who were like commissioned, like, you have to. I like to believe that those people didn't necessarily sign up to do that. They were drafted against their will to do this. So this was their way of like, we can do it. We were forced to come here, so we're just gonna do what we want. Whereas like, there's still some semblance of like, this was a thing we had to do with Apocalypse Now, and like, what am I thinking? What's the other one?
Platoon is the other one.
Right.
Said. I was gonna say to that point, like Full Metal Jacket gets lost in the Kubrick of
Right.
it all. But the other movie that they highlight on there, which I've never seen start to finish, but as kind of like the forgotten gem possibly, and another one that leans more on the De Palma side of like just the sheer brutality of it, was Hamburger Hill, which I've never seen start to finish. And is another one that's just stacked cast. Every single one of these movies, like from the 70s and 80s, you're just like, oh, I know literally everybody in this went on to do something. Like, it's just...
Given long enough timeline, every movie has an amazing performance because it's like, oh yeah,
exactly.
He was in this too. Did they do We Were Soldiers? No Mel Gibson?
No, I don't think they... I think they kind of cap it...
after the 80s, like stopping in the 80s.
Rambo is kind of... Like, he follows through the Rambo thought of, like, you start out with this, like, you know... oh, this vet coming back, and it's very grounded, and then how that escalates to like, no, we've got to relitigate, we got to go back, and we got to win this time, and like all of that shit. They go into a little bit of the Missing in Action franchise. It's great, dude. You'd love it. I mean, they're like 45-minute episodes, but they talk to like a lot of, you know, people who were like actual Vietnamese who were there, who've gone on to like, you know, basically do essentially like re-educating, like, hey, we're not just like, we know how we're depicted in all of these things, but like we're an actual like culture and society that has like, you know, all sorts of other vibrant aspects to us. Like, can we talk about that a little bit?
If you look at it, it's like if you stick with Rambo, it gets to the point where it's like, I think he's living in Vietnam and he has to go to Burma. Like Burma's the bad place now, and that's where
I did not go along for, what was it, 5 or 6? The Last Blood, I didn't watch, and I just heard terrible things about.
It's like, I get it, but it's just you keep putting him in these situations where you're like, this could not happen to one man. You know, I buy 4 because I'm like, all right, you want to like, you kind of want to, like, you're an old aging action hero, and like, give him something to do.
I remember liking it at the time, and also kind of respecting that it was like so fucking brutal.
Right, you know. Like, if you're going to harken back, this is how you harken back to those 80s action movies. Okay, I got it, you know?
I respected it for that. And that was right around the same time as Rocky Balboa, when I was kind of like, yeah, dude, reclaim all your franchises, do it one last time. And then he just had to gild the lily, dude. He just had to fucking keep going back to the well. And then now he wants to piss and moan about, like, how he's not involved in Creed, and they stole his franchise from him and everything, and I don't have any time for it anymore. Whatever.
Why's he got to complain about? He's got Expendables 4 coming out Friday.
You mean Expendables?
Expendables.
Expandables.
Yes.
Expendables.
Now that one, I'll say the first one of that, I really dug the first one. I thought that was great, dude.
No, to me, the first one, that was like a total Snakes on a Plane, dude.
Yeah.
That's
why I love it.
That was oh my God, this trailer's amazing. It's going to be so great having all of these dudes together. And then, like, when you actually get to the execution of it, you're like, oh, this kind
they're in there, but they're not.
They're on screen. They did put them in the same frame together.
Yeah.
I mean,
but two, with
on a certain
Jean-Claude,
level.
dude, with, you know, Jean-Claude hamming it up, dude. I loved him as a bad guy.
I don't even think I made it to 2.
Dude,
I think
good.
I tapped out after 1. But yeah, talk about the offerings on the table right now at the theater. You can go see Expendables, which, you know, that's not really doing it for me.
No,
just saying. Huge recommend. This is on Paramount Plus right now, and this will segue into another one I'm excited about, which I think comes out before the end of the year. Have you seen or heard of Sick of Myself?
Maybe.
One of my favorite movies I've seen this year. I'm considering it a 2023 movie. It was festivals and foreign 2022. Nobody's been able to see it here until 2023. I'm counting it. Whatever.
You're the boss.
Christopher Borgli, I believe, is the director, or Christoph Borgli. Their new one is called Dream Scenario, which stars Nicolas Cage as a professor who he starts appearing in everyone's dreams, like in the world. He just starts appearing in their dreams, and he just becomes like essentially a viral figure, but organically, not through, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
It looks trippy as hell. It looks very like Andy Kaufman. It looks very Charlie Kaufman-esque. Excuse me.
Thank you very much.
It looks great. I'm very excited about it, but Sick of Myself absolutely blew me away. It is a satire about narcissism, and it is fucking brilliant. I laughed long and hard. Probably the funniest movie I've seen all year. It's on Paramount Plus right now. Huge recommend.
Okay.
It is subtitled, but the humor shines through. Dude, if you don't go for this one, I'd be shocked. It nails its tone so hard, and you're like, it's one of those like high wire acts where you're just like, all right, I'm loving this. Like, don't fuck that. Like, literally half hour in, I was like, this is the funniest movie I've seen like in a long time. Like,
Okay.
And it never falters. It just follows its premise to its like logical conclusion. I absolutely loved it. Yeah, sick of myself. Huge recommend. What else we got on here? Finally got to go back and watch Top Cappy. It's a Jules Dassin movie from the early 60s. Hold on, I'll pull this one up. I tried to watch it on like Tubi or Pluto forever ago. And, the ads were popping up, which was annoying, but I was dealing with it because I'd wanted to watch this movie for a while. I'll give you the IMDb logline. A con man gets mixed up with a group of thieves who plan to rob an Istanbul museum to steal a jeweled dagger. It's a con woman, so that's not actually labeled correctly, but whatever. The big thing for me here, Peter Ustinov, who I watched in Spartacus for the first time, because I hadn't seen Spartacus start to finish. That was either earlier this year or last year, whenever Blank Check was covering Kubrick. I finally watched Spartacus, and I was like, who the fuck is Peter Ustinov? This guy's amazing. He's incredible. What else has he been in? So I think he wins supporting for Spartacus, and I look him up, and it's like, oh, yeah, he actually won supporting, I think, like, within a year or two for this movie called Top Cappy. I'm like, what the hell is Top Cappy? Look it up. It's Jules Dassin, who did Rififi, which is another, that's the one with the blind robbers. That's kind of the more well-known, I would say. But Top Cappy's like, I guess, a little bit more of a deep cut. Dude, just the vibes. Great little caper movie. Super fun. The whole aesthetic. I feel like probably a big influence on Soderbergh for Ocean's 12, specifically. The European adventure.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, it's now on Amazon Prime, so you don't have to watch it with ads. But anyways, it crashed on me while I was watching it on Pluto, and I had to restart it, and then I was trying to just fast forward back to where I was, but it kept hitting me with the ads, and I got so frustrated that I tapped out on it. This was months ago, and then lo and behold, it pops on Prime, and I was like, I'm doing this afternoon. Dude, it's a total, like, it's end of summer now, but like nice warm afternoon, and you're just like, oh, okay, I just came in from outside, just gonna have a nice relaxing chill on the couch, maybe pour myself like a little cocktail. Top Cappy's your movie, man. You're gonna have a good time. Great vibes all around. Has Melina McCreary and Maximilian Schell are the other big big people in there. You got anything you want to chime in with? I mean, I got some more, but
I started watching series.
Okay, well, hold off on TV.
I got the movies though.
Okay, movies. Yeah.
Hypnotic. I finally went back and watched that.
Did you rent it?
It's available on Peacock.
The Peacock.
Yeah.
Okay. How was it? Do we need to resurrect Rodriguez Revisited?
I would, if you wanted to, in a heartbeat, dude. I mean, it's
so we'd have to do Alita. What is it? Red 12? What was it called?
Yeah.
Red 8, 9, 12? What was it?
600.
Red 13?
Something. Red something.
Red Rodriguez. Which I think is streaming now.
Red 3. What you call it? Red 3 Rodriguez.
Okay. And then Hypnotic makes 3. He snuck in like a couple Netflix kids movies.
Yeah,
dude.
That's
the thing. We blinked, and motherfucker went and made 5 movies.
Yeah, I know. Same thing with Carpenter. We finished that, and what is it? 3 years later, we get a whole brand new series come with him. We can talk about that later. But yeah.
So what's the deal there? What's the deal?
We
can't talk about series yet, but save that.
I'll look
Carpenter.
it up. I'll look it up.
By the way, hey, you want to take that for the new studio?
Yeah, I might.
By all means.
I might take it back. put it in my new studio. Oh, I watched They Clone Tyrone.
How was it? Haven't gotten to this
Dude,
yet.
so fucking good.
Okay, so this is the Netflix, John Boyega, Jamie Foxx, and is it Tiona Paris? Who is it? Who's the female lead?
I have to look. I can't remember her name.
I will look it up. You talk about the movie.
It was one of those where I'm like, okay. I thought so. One of the trends. I don't know if I've mentioned this before.
Dude, I'm sorry. I sometimes I just nail it. You know.
Oh, you got it.
I should trust myself more often. Yeah. What, Tiona Paris.
Is she the one that's in 1001?
She was in Dear White People, Candyman, WandaVision, fucking If Beale Street Could Talk.
What? She was in another one.
Chirac.
She was in.
She was Dawn on Mad Men. That's what I know her from.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, she comes in Mad Men for like the last 2 seasons.
1001. Is that her? What's the name?
No.
What's her name again?
Tiona Paris is who I'm talking about.
Okay, it's real close. Her last name's Taylor. Tayana Taylor. Yeah. I watched that. That was really good. Like I literally like.
But they Clone Tyrone. Huge recommend. Kind of like blaxploitation vibes. Yeah.
That
good sci-fi concept.
Okay, so what I was gonna say is that like one of the things I hate. It's gotten to me now. I feel like it's so dead. I don't like it anymore. It frustrates me. Is the let me do this, and then something happens, and then I wake up and it's the same day, and I start to do it all over again. I fucking hate the the
Groundhog Day,
the Groundhog
setup.
effect.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean like Boss Level with Frank Grillo a couple years ago. I particularly liked that because of the way that they made fun of it. He kept being like, and then this happened to me, and then this happened to me, and then I made it here, and now I'm here, and this is what I figured out. I got to do all this in one day, and I like Frank Grillo, but like this one I thought was going to be that, but when you get to that setup and you realize that like people look at him like, what the fuck? What are you doing here? You're like, wait a minute, what? And then you start to see these little things. You're like, what the hell is going on here? It to me, original. Didn't see anything coming. Love like the comedy in it is hilarious. The like, I'm sure have you seen the trailer?
Yeah.
Like it's all in the chicken, and they're all just laughing. They can't get it. Jamie Foxx is just slapping out of people's hands and stuff. I thought Jamie Foxx was amazing in it. I don't know if that's the one that he got sick on or whatever. But like, it was great, dude.
I think that's a different movie. But yeah, I think it's definitely come up at some point, maybe in our Ali episode or our Collateral episode or back on Manhunters.
Mm-hmm.
Jamie Foxx has never been bad, ever.
You know what I think it is?
Like he does not miss. I maybe.
You know what it is?
Maybe I'm speaking too soon because I've never seen The Soloist, and that's the only one I've heard where like maybe he just totally missed the mark.
Maybe.
But I've never seen it. But to my mind, every time he shows up, I'm like, dude, he fucking killed that. Whatever, it doesn't matter.
The vampire movie we watched. You didn't watch it, did you?
No, but I'm thinking back to like Project Power, like the year before on Netflix, which was totally disposable. Except he was great, and Dominic Fishback, who went on to be in Swarm and a bunch of other awesome shit, like were amazing. So it's like
what I'm saying is like, I think it's because early on he got a show, and he learned that like. The only way that he's going to be able to like make it is he's got to be on all the time, to the point that like I'm not going to say that humbled him, but like I feel like he figured out early on that like, you know what, if I just show up and I try, I'm pretty good. So if I don't let myself get to this level of I'm Jamie Foxx and I need this, if I'm just like, I'm here, baby, let's do this, then I'm here, baby, let's do this, and I'm going to look good.
He is just an inherently compelling screen presence, period. He's just one of those guys. No, I did not. He's got another. He has The Burial coming out on Amazon Prime with him and Tommy Lee Jones, which everybody's saying is a really great like throwback, just like courtroom drama, which kind of sounds like pretty exciting at this point. Haven't seen one of those in a while. Which obviously Just Mercy, I guess, was
Michael B. Jordan, dude.
One that
like that
he directed that as well, right?
And that to me,
no, Just Mercy is that a Denzel?
I can't remember. I don't know who directed it.
hold on.
I mean, we all knew Michael B. Jordan, but part of me was like, okay, like maybe it's just because like he got in shape and it's the character of Adonis Creed. Maybe I'm just like overlooking all these other movies he's done.
Excuse me, it's Destin Daniel Cretton who did Short Term 12 and Shang-Chi.
Right.
My mistake.
But that, Just Mercy, like him inhabiting a person who exists still today. Like there's some network is putting out a podcast about Just Mercy, and I'm like, in my head, I'm like, and y'all not going to mention that like Michael B. Jordan gave this brilliant performance if you wanted to watch a movie about like the real life dude and like all he went through. Okay, whatever. But having him inhabit like a human, but still walking the earth today, that to me solidified it like one of the best actors working today. Again, another one I can't think of, like, what's he been bad in? Maybe the one with Miles Teller about like there's like a buddy comedy one he did with Miles Teller's in it. Maybe that one, but like I can't think of any other one where I'm just like, nah, dude, he didn't do it for me.
I would love for you and Brendan to have the Michael B. Jordan debate because he is not a fan and like goes out of his way to talk trash about him, and I don't get it. I don't get it at all.
It's because of the Michael Jordan name. That's what he's mad at. He doesn't
still the only good joke in Space Jam: A New Legacy.
Yes.
Okay.
Perfect. Note perfect.
Two other new movies for me.
Well, 1001.
Oh yes.
I think it's on Peacock, or I think it's on Peacock now. Randomly just saw that it was a trailer or something.
Limited theatrical run earlier this year. Yeah,
that looks interesting. And like weirdly got. I don't take this the wrong way because I'm not trying to put it in any categories, but I felt the same way I felt watching Moonlight. I felt watching this. I felt like I was watching something that like at any time something could happen that would just be like, what the fuck was that? You know? And so I was like, this is really good. And is it Teyana Taylor? Is that how you pronounce it? I don't know how you pronounce her first name, but Miss Taylor's performance was like perfect, especially how it turns on a dime.
I need to get on Peacock.
Yeah, dude.
It's some. I didn't realize there were so many new indies dropping there, but I guess anything that's so Peacock. Hold on, Peacock is Universal.
NBC Universal. Yep.
So you're telling me, that at some point we'll be able to watch old Oppie?
Yeah, probably.
On Peaky?
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Have you seen trailers for this thing?
What are you showing me? Oh, I sure have. Well, hey, slow your roll.
I can't.
Slow your roll.
I can't wait, dude.
Well, I'm almost done here.
Okay. I'll see if I got any more left.
On Hulu, I watched Theater Camp.
I literally have that in my wait list to watch. Or watch list to watch.
Super fun. I think you'll have a good time with it. Again, not my favorite comedy of the year. That's sick of myself, but I had a good time with it. Lots of fun people. My only, if I have a gripe, and I so rarely say this, I feel like I'm constantly watching series where it's like, that should have been a movie. That should have been a movie. This is one of those movies where I was like, that should have been a series. It's like, it's too short. And it does try and stuff like kind of a few too many narratives. It tries to give like everybody a little bit of business, and as a result, nobody really gets that much business. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. That was my only complaint. I was like, I wish it was a little longer, or maybe it's just a little 4-episode like miniseries. That would be cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, loved everybody involved, and it's super fun. It's got a lot of big laughs in it. I think you'll enjoy it. I also, just randomly, I'm sure you saw this on Prime, and I'm just curious because I don't know if we ever discussed it. I don't know why we would have. I finally went back and watched Riddick from a couple years ago.
Oh yeah, I watched
the third Riddick film. Yeah. Because I subscribed to Blank Check's Patreon. I've been going through some of their commentaries, and they did Pitch Black and they did Chronicles of Riddick, and I was like, I know those movies well enough. I'll just listen to these.
And then they hit that. Didn't really know Riddick that much.
Then they hit the third one, and I was like, you know what? I never watched this one. I remember the trailer being like semi-intriguing. Let me throw it on before I watch, or before I listen to their commentary, so I at least have a little bit more context. And first half hour, I'm like, this kind of fucking slaps, dude. Like, It's kind of really good. Like, it's it's pretty silent, and it's just him like on the planet, like existing and like rediscovering his animal side and like just like survival.
It's the animal dog creature.
He gets his little dog buddy, and like he's just hanging out. You're like, I'm like, dude, is this good? Like, did nobody tell me this is fucking good? And then he eventually like activates a beacon, and then some humans show up, and I was like, all right, a little less interested now. Like, none of these people are really compelling.
And realize Batista's one of them.
And then Bautista's in there. I'm like, all right, well, at least we got that. Okay. And Katie Sackhoff, I'm like, all right, I like her. Okay, cool. And everybody else, I'm kind of like, I don't know about all these fuckers. Like, these people are just like fodder, I guess. Okay?
Basically, yeah.
And I mean, spoilers for Riddick, which is what, like 10 years old at this point.
Because Riddick is the one that he said, if you will greenlight this, I will come back to your franchise.
He did the cameo in Tokyo Drift
to get
the rights to Riddick back, and then he basically self-finances Riddick
from the money he's made on 4, 5, 6, and 7.
Exactly. Yeah, that's
That's why Paul Walker said, like, I want him to renegotiate my deal when it comes up in a couple years.
Yeah. So. Yeah, midsection, kind of a slog where I'm just like, I don't care about any of these people, whatever.
It felt like they were trying to redo Pitch Black again.
But eventually, and I still maintain, the dude they have in there as, spoiler alert, like Cole Hauser's father, which makes no sense because the dude's like maybe like 5 years older than him. Anyways,
you forget Cole Hauser's in fucking
that needs to be that needs to be a stronger actor. Like, there's just like there's a lot of stuff that doesn't work in it, but. I thought it was totally worth the investment. I know you know what I'm talking about, but when he is chained up and he tells the dude, here's what's going to happen, like in 60 seconds, your head's going to be in that box. And you're just like, all right,
here we go.
And he fucking kicks the dude, kicks the machete into the roof, kicks the dude across the room, machete drops, bounces on his foot, flicks it up, kicks it all the way across the room, bisects the dude's head at the mouth with his tongue still exposed, and then casually slides over the like glass box that he was going to take Riddick's head home in, and the dude's top half of his head falls into it. I was like, dude, if I paid money to go see this in the theater, I would have stood up and applauded. I was like, that was one of the coolest fucking things I've ever seen in a movie, hands down. I was like, at the end of the day, I'm like, oh, dude, the cinematography and the artistry, auteur theory, like blah, blah, blah. But at the end of the day, I'm a very simple man, dude. And I was just like, you know what? This was worth it. And then the back half of the movie, I'm like, you know what? This was kind of cool. I was like, dude, you want to make a fourth one of these? I'll go see it, man. If you make a fourth one of these, me and my brother will be there day one. So
he's got that and another Triple X.
Weirdly, didn't think I'd come out of this. It's not like a hard recommend, but I was like, dude, I tell you one thing, it's a hell of a lot better than Chronicles of Riddick.
Yeah,
a movie that at the time I was like, this rules, nobody gets it, and then like probably like 2 years later, I was like, yeah, that movie fucking sucks. I hope nobody remembers that I said I liked that.
And you know what's crazy is that like that movie has Carl Urban, and like I rewatch it every year just because it's so good. I watch Dredd all the time, and I just want another Dredd movie.
Oh, dude,
just literally make it 20 minutes after the first one. Just keep going, man.
Now, in a very Vin way, and of course they work together on Chronicles, and he did cameos in Riddick, but. Mm-hmm. It would be dope if Carl Urban was like, I'm gonna use my boys' cachet.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna do Dredd 2, and
or do Dredd as a series with Amazon.
And I'm gonna do Dredd 2, and I'm also gonna force the studio to bring Alex Garland out of retirement because he says he's done. I don't know if you heard that, but he does say he's done. I think there's one more after Men, but he says he's done. But I don't know if you know that he basically ghost directed Dredd.
Yeah, I heard.
Yeah, essentially that's his movie. It's just his name's not on it, but he wrote it, and he definitely apparently was there on set and like.
For my money, one of the with much respect to the late great Cormac McCarthy, Alex Garland is one of the best writers just of anything in the last 30 years. I'm just gonna throw it out there. Contemporary. You think it's, you think of it being like, oh, these people, that people, like the greats people still talk about, but I'll put Cormac McCarthy up there novelist wise, not so much movies. I don't know if he wrote any movies or anything like that.
Famously wrote The Counselor.
Yeah. Ooh, wow.
You ever watched the director's cut of The Counselor?
No. But Alex Garland, for my money, dude, like, you can, his footprint on pop culture is so, it's there, but it's also just like, it's just seemingly like, if you blink, you would miss. You forget, oh shit, he did this. He wrote this book. He wrote this movie. He directed this thing. And you're just like, holy shit, all of them are, who, he's right to retire now because, like, did you see the reel I sent you of Taika Waititi?
You'll have to be more specific.
He's
sent me a lot of reels.
He's sitting with what's her face? Not his girlfriend, but the other one he was making out with.
Rita Ora?
Tessa
Thompson.
And he was like, all right, see you later.
I love the way he says Rita Ora.
Right. It's like, all right, see you later. Just going to go make on go work on another smash hit film, They say, learn from your mistakes. I say, I wouldn't know. He just walks. It's like, yeah, dude, that guy has made nothing but bangers. Like,
hard disagree, but oh, sure.
What has he not made that you don't like? What has he made that you don't like?
A Thor 4, a big thumbs down. A Jojo Rabbit, not a fan.
I liked Jojo Rabbit.
It didn't work for me.
I don't know. I liked it.
I don't begrudge you for liking it. I'm just saying he's not like, I'm not a everything he touches is gold person. I also think maybe he's spread a little thin. He's one of those people who's like, your name's kind of all over the place right now. It's a little bit of the Jordan Peele thing from a couple of years ago where I'm like, hey, but just be mindful of all the stuff you're attaching your name to.
Yeah, but I mean, he's also
don't dilute your brand.
But at the same time, like, if you don't have him, you don't have things like Res Dogs and these other places because he's using his name to get his friends stuff, and I can appreciate that.
Again, that's why I'm like, I'm way more into those because he's not necessarily like front and center. That being said, we just got the new trailer for Our Flag Means Death season 2, and I'm super pumped for it. Like, I'm not immune to the charms of Taika. I'm just not. He doesn't always hit for me.
Right, but I'm saying Alex Garland always does. I can't find.
For me, he has never missed.
I can't find a fault in his star.
I even went back to Men, which, have you seen Men?
Yeah.
Okay.
Creepy as fuck, bro.
But I was gonna say, I went back to it because I was like, I love this in the theater, but it seemed like nobody else seemed to like it. I was like, maybe I'll soften, or maybe I'll be like, oh, okay, maybe I was a little overhyped on it at the time. I rewatched it, and I still, that finale, any movie that like organically builds to showing me something that I've never seen before, and
you
it's
never
not
thought you wanted to see it.
Yeah, and it's not just for like sheer shock value, but it's like it actually makes sense contextually
you would
within
be mad
the
if
story
you
you've been watching.
Like, you'd be pissed if you didn't get
yes. And yeah, sometimes I'm just like, you just got to stand up and respect the sheer audacity, and I was absolutely knocked out by that movie.
Yeah.
And the second time as well. Okay. You want to talk a little TV, and then we'll get into what we're excited for in the fall?
Yeah, I got one more. I don't know.
Or movies? Whatever.
One more, yeah. Another Netflix one, Extraction 2.
I mean, I saw that oneer, and I felt like I watched the movie, so I didn't really.
I appreciate it.
I mean, is there another set piece I need to check out in there?
Just most of the build up, you keep getting bigger and bigger, and there is some investment in these specific like side characters and like.
Is he funny in these?
He's got that like. He's got that gallows humor, kind of like, I know I should be, and to me.
Is he doing the Black Hat Michael Mann Chicago voice, or is he doing like his voice?
It's his voice.
Okay.
Yeah, and I get it. And
they just did Black Hat on the rewatchables,
dude. That's still one of my top ones. Dude,
it's about to be Sorry, I'm getting into the stuff we're excited about.
Oh yeah.
It's about to be Man season again.
Yeah. Speaking of Man season, I was trying to think. Was there another one I watched? Oh, I watched this one. I don't know. It's I don't know if you've ever seen it. It's The Killing of a Sacred Deer. I watched that the other day. Pretty fucking wild, man. Have you ever seen it?
I mean, yeah.
You have?
I mean,
Colin Farrell, right? I mean, what?
One of my favorite living filmmakers, and also one of my favorite actors,
and
also one of my favorite actresses, and also one of my favorite new and up and coming actors. So yeah, I saw that one as soon as possible in theaters a couple years ago.
I watched it. I watched it in full, and in my head, without cold calling, I didn't look at a thing. I was like, "Oh, it's here. I'll watch it." And in my head, I was like, "Why is his name like?" And I didn't. I'm not paying attention to credits. I don't even know if I saw the dude's name, but in my head, I was like, "Who the fuck is Yorgos Lanthimos or whatever the fuck his name was?" I was like, "Who the fuck is that dude? Why is that name?" And like, what do I feel? And I'm like, "Oh, I guess he directed this." Like, I don't know why. I just thought of his name when watching this because it was weirdly like I knew that like the house that Jack built was Lars von Trier's, but like I watched it.
Lars von Trier.
Tears, whatever. Something, Denmark, Sweden, Norway, who cares? Something European. Anyway, like certain people.
Shout out to all of our Danish, Norwegian, Swedish. Don't leave anybody out.
The Netherlands.
Yes.
That's not a real place. That's where Captain Hook lives, Joey.
Oh my God. Continue.
But no, but like, for whatever reason, I'm just like, Lanthimos. Is that? And I just like, oh, okay, this was his movie. For some reason, watching it, I felt like this feels like
a Yorgos Lanthimos film.
No, it just felt like that name.
On absolutely nothing.
No, it just felt like I was like, this is some weird shit. Like,
okay.
That's a weird name. There's some fucking weird shit going on.
Okay.
And I get, like, I read into it. I get what it's supposed to be, and I'm like, all right, okay. But like, it's just weird. Like, I don't know if I would have been allowed to like it when it came out.
Sorry, but I love the way you approach some of this stuff where it's just like you yada yada the part of like you're like, and I get it and yet blah blah blah, but you spend so much time on the like Lanthimos, you know. I'm just like I'm watching this movie and I'm just thinking Lanthimos, like what the only you, brother. Only you, brother. I'm just,
listen, if I could charge
and
people
I get it, and it's artsy, and I guess I'm allowed to like it, but you know, it wasn't really my taste.
The only reason I started it, I was like, wait a minute, they were in the Banshees of Ed Sheeran together.
Oh my God,
this is where they first worked together. Let's see what it looks like. And I'm like,
you're like,
oh, Nicole Kidman's
quite a different dynamic.
It just. Honest, please don't take this the wrong way, and I don't want to admit this, but like for the first 10 minutes, I was like, oh please God, he's not fucking this kid, is he? Like he's not. This isn't like a weird like reverse Lolita thing going on, right? Like this isn't bad, is it? There's got to be like some good for this, and then when you're like, oh well, his dad died on the table, and like he feels like he has to. Like I get that part, but weird Lanthimos. Just in my head, I'm like. That's where my terrible mind went. Like, oh, he's like grooming this child.
Okay.
You know, like that's where my head was going.
Well, I mean, you should have a general sense of unease and kind of like I don't really know where this is going.
As I do in most Yorkie movies.
But when you get the turn that like, Barry Keoghan is essentially like the devil.
Yeah, he's playing him like a fucking fiddle, like a sap to the big scoop.
That's one of those where I'm just like. I'd never seen him in anything before, so it's weaponized so perfectly. You're just like, who the fuck is this kid? Like, I don't like him. What's this weird energy? His whole vibe.
Yeah.
His American accent is so disturbing. It's like good, but like as far as like Brits doing American accents go, but like the way he plays that character in particular,
so fucking unnerving, dude.
That's when like people were kind of like, did you need him like teased as the Joker and the Batman? And I was like, I'm here for it because whatever he's gonna do with it is gonna be so out of left field to me, at least from the last couple interpretations. I think he's a brilliant actor. I fucking love him. And, like,
dude, everything.
Yeah. But yeah, pretty wild movie. Have you seen The Lobster?
Yeah, I watched it.
Okay,
a long time ago.
Again, did you see The Favorite?
No. What's that?
That's the one after Killing of Sacred Deer with Rachel Weisz and Emma Stone. It was nominated for like 11 Oscars.
Maybe.
It's kind of Olivia Colman won Best Actress for it.
I think I remember seeing the name.
Weirdly, the most like accessible and palatable Lanthimos movie, which again, the fact that it was like nominated for, again, I think like 11 Oscars or something is insane when you watch that movie, because you're just like, I can't believe people were down for this. This is great. This is so fucking weird. I love this movie. Yeah. But it's definitely the most approachable, and it's the least that people act like, you know, literal like aliens. And most of his movies have that tone of just like, again, where like when you watch a Lynch movie, it's like, no, everybody's in his mode and his vibe. Right. It's like when you're in a Lanthimos movie, it's like, no, it doesn't matter what these actors' persona is. Everybody like adheres to, yeah, for sure.
Yeah. One you just reminded me, and I just had one other one. I just blanked on it. It was legit. I wasn't trying to be funny with it. God. Oh, The Flash. I finally saw that when it came to HBO Max.
I mean, you want to throw your 2 cents in the ring all these months later about a movie that everybody seems to have collectively been like,
yeah. I just
that blank space right there was me. Just kind of, that was just the air just being like sucked out of the room. It was just everybody collectively just memory holing that movie.
My favorite bits were when he kept saying, they were like, why do you keep saying Michael J. Fox? Like, Michael J. Fox is in Back to the Future. No, that's Kevin Bacon. No, Kevin Bacon's in Footloose. No, Tom Cruise is in Footloose. The alternate world and like the different realities.
Those were fun.
Those
jokes,
bits hit.
Sure.
I appreciate that in the scheme of it all, the way that he tries to write it, but still winds up, which I love, the overarching thing of like, you can't fuck with time at all. So just the simple thing of like, I'm going to move these things up on a top shelf, and it's going to exonerate my dad, because it's not until in my time now that this footage could even be seen. So yeah, my dad's been in prison. I can't change that, but I can get him out. I appreciated that aspect of it, because that's to maybe somebody actually giving a shit about time travel and writing. But for that to be the reason why George Clooney shows up instead of Ben Affleck, I love it. I think it's great. You know? And I'm glad that they could get Clooney to do it. I love Michael Keaton in anything. You know?
So basically, you were just
I was there for Batman. That's all I was.
Okay,
that's all I was there for.
But it all played for you. All the like Nick. We're going to show you Nick Cage. We're going to show you Christopher. Oh God. Okay. You were their ideal audience member. You were the Tom Cruise in this bitch, going, "This is the greatest comic book movie I've ever seen."
No, the only reason I flipped out with that, because I had to explain to Bex how like Kevin Smith explains that this guy wanted fucking Superman to fight a spider, and it didn't happen. And then Wild Wild West comes out, and he gets what he wants.
Did you also pause to explain to her how George Reeves, the actor who played Superman on TV and was haunted by the role, and unless you want to believe Hollywoodland, for all intents and purposes, committed suicide after years of depression. He killed himself because of that role, and is now resurrected through technology to be seen as the character one more time. That one, I know people were flipping out about Christopher Reeves and stuff, and I was just like, no, the George Reeves is the thing that I think is really gross and weird, because it's like, no, I'm like, did his estate have anything to say? I was like, by all accounts, he never escaped that role. He hated the fact that he couldn't get work. He was only known as Superman. And eventually he drank himself to death / to shooting himself. He killed himself. Or he was murdered. And go watch that movie Hollywoodland where Ben Affleck plays him if you want to go into that. But that was weird to me, where I was like, okay, I get like all the years of them. But like,
I mean,
was there anybody who was going to be like, they didn't show George Reeves?
Well, I don't.
Was there any 98-year-old in the audience who was going to be like, how dare they?
Who's that old man in there? No, again, I don't think you need him. I mean, as
that's
far as
where I'm just like,
you don't need him. It's Chris.
What's the? I'm gonna fuck it up, but they never stopped to think. It was Jurassic Park.
Yeah,
you never stopped to think if you should.
Okay, so you
obsessed with the fact that you could. You never stopped to think if you should.
That Coke can, it's protected by the ship's defenses. I gave it a virus. Anyway,
I gave it cold.
Yeah,
Give it a virus.
You know nothing about it for my David.
But my David.
I think every episode...
I'm Judd Hirsch.
We should throw in a Judd Hirsch.
I will get a supporting actor nomination, I swear to God.
For The Fableman.
The Fableman.
Which
the
is available.
And The Fableman.
I've seen it on Amazon.
Have
I'm
you
like,
watched
I should
it?
just, I
You
could just,
gotta watch
I
it.
could just hit it, but I'm like, I don't have the time.
At least watch the last 5 minutes for old Davey as John Ford. It's so good.
I should do that.
Just watch the ending with no context. Just watch the David Lynch scene. It's so good. It really is. It does send you out on a high. It tricks you into being like, that was a great movie, when it's like, that was an okay movie.
Wow, little Stevie's going to be okay.
And little Stevie never had a problem ever again.
Except when he tried to make Jaws. But after that, it was all smooth sailing.
It really is just the like, hey, this guy had kind of an awkward childhood, and his parents,
Come back
they got divorced, but things were kind of okay, and in the end, he became the most famous director of all fucking time.
Come back in 3 years when we do Rebel Rouser, the George Lucas story. Find out how this guy with a Fiat had a crazy accident and decided, hey, I think I'm going to make movies instead. Come to find out how Brian
He's
De
just
Palma...
trying to get the hell out of Marin County.
Find out how Brian De Palma and all his other buddies hated the movie. But little Stevie Spielberg said, I think it's great, George. You put it all up there on the screen.
Let me tell you about Alan Ladd Jr.
Laddie to his friends.
These are our new characters that we'll be doing
these
for the rest of the year.
I love these voices.
I don't know if this is
going on.
offensive to anybody, but I apologize
Anybody
in
under the
advance.
age of 97 shouldn't be upset about anything we've got to say. I'm kind of
We're trying to be as relatable as possible for all the new hip kids out there.
Let's rap, kids. What's happening these days?
Did you see the Barbie and the Oppenheimer?
I'm trying to get into an Alan Alda kind of voice.
You're close there on the end.
Yeah, dude, I'm
you
trying.
Slipped into it. All right.
Those
Go
different
ahead.
people, the SNL bits you send me of Bill Hader being other people auditioning for movies, which I've seen. I remember seeing a bunch of them live, but those are they're always a delight.
Yeah.
Welcome to Jurassic Park. It's so fucking good, dude.
He's great. He's a genius. Okay. I still need to wrap What We Do in the Shadows Season 5, but it's been a great time. I still have the finale left. Res Dogs Season 3. Haven't touched it. I know you love it. I'll get to it in a bit. We both finished Justified, City Primeval, and I think it's fair to say it went out on a very high note. And if they don't give us a sequel series and they don't bring back the series and we don't
Can we just appreciate that Mr. Walton Goggins lied to all of us?
Oh, I loved it, dude. They played it so well. Because
He played it perfectly.
Okay, spoiler alert. Obviously, people know at this point he showed back up. But the way they doled it out, though.
Oh, yeah.
Because they wrapped things up with Clement, and I was like, okay.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, we got to have time for the daughter, obviously. We got to, close
Bring this
that
back
loop.
around, yeah.
And I was like, we'll probably see Winona. Like, that makes
Yeah.
sense. And then they throw in Dave Koechner, and they throw in old dude from, is he the dad in Masterminds?
That's a good question.
He is the dad in Masterminds, and he's been in a billion things. But he was his supervisor back in OG Justified, back
Right.
down in Florida, who's retiring.
Right.
And I was like, these are nice deep cuts. Like,
Yeah.
hell yeah, dude. And I was like,
Well, because I
and
started
we'll
the
just have
series
a-
back, so yeah, I remember that.
And I was like, and we'll just have a nice little wrap up, and like, this was fun. I enjoyed it. Like, maybe they'll do another one. And then we fade out. We gotta fade back up, and I'm like, oh, looks like we're in prison. Kentucky! And I was just like, oh, I'm so happy. I said it out loud. Veronica's like, what? And I was just like, he's back.
Just watch,
I
just
was like, he's back again. I was like, he's all over the year of Goggins. Every year feels like it's the year of Goggins. But I was just like, dude, fucking, I'm a Virgo, gemstones. And then he's just like,
Get
I'm
your
not
mind
in it.
right,
I was
yeah,
too
boys.
busy. I'm not in it.
Yeah.
And then you bring him, and then you throw in Luis Guzman, and I'm just like, dude, the kind of like Elmore Leonard adjacent world
dude,
we're
all of
building,
them.
where
They're
I'm
all-
like,
yeah.
dude, they could bring anybody to play. I was like, dude, let them go to California, and like, or let them go down to Mexico, and tell me Pam Grier is just like, I'll come play around, and tell me Tarantino's like, hey, I'm done. I made The Critic. I did my final movie, but I did leave the caveat. I can still do TV. I can do limited series. I can do whatever I want.
Has he
I'm just
ever
not
done
making
one?
another movie. He directed like episodes of CSI and ER, but he's never done
Oh, that's
limited
right. He did do
series.
some ERs.
He, of course, there was talks at the very beginning of all this. He's on set of Once Upon a Time with Oliphant. They're talking about, yeah, I kind of want to bring it. What if we did City Primeval? Blah blah blah. Hey, maybe I could direct some of them. Blah. Like that was the original germ of why they decided, because apparently City Primeval was being shopped around as like, we're just gonna do this book
Yeah.
as a new series or limited series in the universe, but like we're gonna do it as it is, and then independent of that, Oliphant and Tarantino are talking, and of course then that becomes the thing where it's like, oh well, that sounds like a cooler idea. What if we put him into the story instead? Take Raymond Cruz and kind of like put him in the background. And so yeah, that's what they did. And so I was just like, oh, maybe we'll get another Elmore Leonard book where they do that. But then they leave it on this Boyd note, and I'm like, dude, if we don't get fucking Bonnie and Clyde, Boyd and whoever the girl he escapes with is, like on the run, and then Raylan having to go track them down, and like fun adventures on the West Coast. We maybe bring in Ava and the son. Maybe we go down to Mexico. I don't, or maybe it is like Raylan's done with the Marshals and he's just got to go down to Mexico to get Boyd. Like one final thing.
But he has to get help from one woman that he's never ever hooked up with, but always had respect for, and it's Karen Sisko.
Karen Sisko, who they could bring back.
J-Lo, what's she doing?
No. Karen Sisko has been in Justified.
She was
season 2 or 3.
I didn't know that.
She cameos, and it's Carla Gugino.
Oh yeah,
who did the series, and it was
That's
a nice
right.
little
I forgot
callback to
about
like,
that.
you only got one season of the network show. It didn't quite work out, but we loved you as the character. So in the Justified universe, Karen is technically Carla Gugino.
Okay.
But it could be J-Lo, and I wouldn't be mad at it. In the same way that I'm like, dude, I don't see Clooney coming back for an FX series, but he is doing an Apple series with fucking Brad Pitt right now. Side note.
He's not, but he is. Nobody's doing anything right now.
Well, I'm thinking it's already done. I just don't know if they're holding it because of the strike and it's being pushed, or I don't know what's going on with it, but I think it's all wrapped. But I was like, dude, bringing Clooney as Jack Foley, like you could do the whole Road Dogs thing. There's a lot of cool ways to go with it, but that was such a nice surprise.
Maybe we throw him in there with Cormac McCarthy. This is just secretly like, who's been the best authors in the last 20
pound
years?
for pound, just as a writer, a compelling writer, and you could. There's always the like literature versus I write books or whatever. Elmore Leonard writes the best in between of that, where it's like his books are so like readable,
Right.
but there's some poetry in there, and like as opposed to Cormac McCarthy, who it's like it's mostly poetry, and then there's some
Pull out of it what you want.
Except I'm in the middle of reading The Passenger right now, and it has some of the best dialogue he's done since like No Country for Old Men.
That's the most recent one, isn't it?
Yeah, well, it's that and Stella Maris were the last 2 books before he died. And they're basically intertwined together. I have to read one before I can get to the other. But I had to pause all of that because do we want to transition into like things we're excited for?
Yeah, we can.
I read cover to cover over the course of about a week Killers of the Flower Moon by David Grann. I mean, my hype was beyond already for the movie, but I'm like, I feel like I finished it too soon because now I just like the weight is even more unbearable. Incredible book. That's the best like nonfiction thing I've read in a long time.
Crazy story.
It is so like the way it puts you in that time period where it's just like, I don't know. While there is this remove of time and perspective, the way he doles out information, it truly is like you're experiencing it in real time with you're just a little bit ahead of it, just enough to see the tragedy of it. And when you basically pull back and you're like, it's a tragedy in slow motion, I'm like, that's fucking Scorsese, like to a T, dude. I just rewatched The Irishman like a week ago, and I was like, yeah, it's good, it's holding up pretty well or whatever. And then every single fucking time it gets to the third act, like that last hour is just, I'm like, this is a fucking masterpiece, dude. It's like one of the best movies ever made. So good. I I cannot wait. But yeah, that book fucked me up, and like where he ends it. You experienced the story through like, did you podcast? Where did you?
Yeah,
because you've been talking to me about it for.
Well, there's like three. There's three different. It's so funny to just. It's if you.
We don't have to go deep on it because save this for when the movie comes out.
I know, because I need to revisit it with the ins and outs, because I feel like there's some inner betrayal. Somebody who might have been related to one of the women was actually part of it. I can't remember, but like, it's funny to watch. I don't have a big three because some people are there's a I don't know if you don't pay attention to it, but like there's a big rift inside of the true crime world. There's a lot of people who don't like a certain podcaster because of just the kind of person he is, but I've never really had a problem with him. I thought he's always been fair, and they basically tried to cancel him, and he's like, okay, and he's come back now, and he makes, if you look at the amount of numbers he has from people that have subscribed just at a base level, every month that guy's making almost $250,000. Like because the content is good and it's there, and it's not a biased voice back and forth. And I don't know if he covered it, but I remember several of the ones that I followed, like True Crime Garage, Crimes of the Centuries, all this other stuff.
I feel like presumably when the book hit, so like a couple years ago.
Even before that.
Okay.
But way before that, different people had covered it. It might have been for an anniversary or something, or might have been something that the news popped up again. Maybe the announcement that the book had come out, or that the movie was going to be something that was going to be made. But it's interesting when different people get it, and then the format of each show, how they come about it. Some people are just like, this is what happens, and they're kind of telling you as they're telling your thoughts. One of the best ones, if you ever listen to it, is Case File, because that guy literally just like, he reads a script that someone's written. It's compelling. He's Australian. His voice is modulated. I don't know who his name is. He's never revealed his name. I think
I've listened to a couple of those.
Yeah, he's really, Casey is, he just calls himself Casey because of Case File. But like, knowing about that, I've always thought like, okay, that would be interesting. So when you told me that this was what the movie was about, I was like, holy shit, dude, it's all there in real life. It's amazing. You know what I liken it to? I listened to a whole thing about the Tulsa Massacre, and then 3 months later, I had Watchmen. Mm-hmm. And yes, this is a few years removed, but it's like, I know about that case, I know what happened, all this kind of stuff, and now I got this Scorsese movie to go enjoy and be like, oh, yeah, okay.
To go enjoy, in quotes, because I know this is not going to be...
It's not going to be good, a good feel-good one. It's not going to be good for us, but like, it's going to be amazing. It's going to be one of those why you go to them, or at least why I go to the movies. Yeah. What I'm hoping is that I hope it will come out, people will see it, and there will be enough of an outcry for people who are like, yeah, we don't care that they're millionaires. You're stepping on the bottom, below the line people. Just pay them what they want to pay them and put them back to work. Like, the rest of us will care. Because we all have friends who work in that industry, and they are the ones, every one of my friends that works in that industry is hurting. Mm-hmm. And yes, the talent could say, hey, we'll pay you while you're out here suffering. But that's the difference between below the line and above the line. And at the end of the day, it is the beauty of a free market economy that theoretically, if you and I went to Disney right now and said, hey, we can do it. We're independent. We're not part of a guild. We'll make you a show. Give us some money. We'll go make it. We could go do that right now. If they wanted to pay 2 kids from South Carolina to go do something, they're not going to do it. They're not going to waste money on that. But if this strike keeps going, who knows what could happen? I saw an interesting reel the other day where I can't remember who it was. It might have been Amy Adams. I can't remember, but it was some actress, and she was explaining it. She's like, let me put you like this, like the NBA. You got the NBA, and they say, all the big players in the NBA said, well, we're not going to play for you anymore. We're going to go play in the minor leagues because the minor leagues is willing to pay us this and that, or NBA baseball, whatever. And they're like, oh, so you're like the Derek Jeter of the minor league. She's like, well, I wouldn't say that, but she's basically breaking it down to like, if the big studios aren't going to actually meet the terms that the WGA and SAG-AFTRA and all that have, they're willing to go work with other independent, like lower studios,
like A24, and I think Neon is on that list now too, and a couple others that are just like, yeah, we'll meet the
whatever you want.
We'll meet the demands.
And I can appreciate that, because I feel like from that you are going to get people who may have not ever thought, I'll go do that. You know, people who might look at a Possessor or another A24 Neon and be like, oh, that's cool, but like, I'm not going to do that. Like, why would I? You know, who are now like, well, you know, I need to work for money, but I'd like to do something. I do enjoy this. Mm-hmm. I feel like this could be something I could lend myself to and might actually make it good. And if me saying I'll do it means that like we can get it off the ground and get done because we can get more investment from, you know, financiers and stuff, then sure, I'll put my name on it. Let's go make it. You know? And so I'll be interested. That's honestly more than anything with what we have being canceled, not showing up, or possibly not being made. I read where like by the time Euphoria 3 comes out, like everybody will be in their 30s playing 19 and 20-year-olds or something like that. And I know Stranger Things isn't coming around until 2027 if they even decide to come back and do a final one.
They really screwed up not just like ending that show when it should have ended last season.
Well, I mean, I think now what you do is like you just do a movie. Just do a movie, and it's like in the 90s.
They already did a couple of those last season.
Yeah.
Okay. So obviously, I mean, Killers of the Flower Moon's easily my most anticipated, but we do have to wait all the way until October to get to that. It's gonna be slim pickings for a while, but I have a mild interest in The Creator.
Yeah. That's
the one with John David Washington, from Gareth Edwards, new original sci-fi. Could be good. Could be good. That drops on the 29th. Same day as Dumb Money, which looks like a fun. That's about the GameStop. Thing. But Rogan, Paul Dano, bunch of other fun people. Probably not a theatrical, but like an immediate day one whenever it's streaming kind of movie for me, at least. They're resurrecting Saw. I could care less, whatever. But they're doing it. And then, kind of a dead zone until first week in October, which a bunch of stuff moved to because of the Taylor Swift movie. Okay.
Oh, she has a movie coming out?
Yes. So it's the tour. It's the Eras tour, but
cool.
It's, you know, the concert movie version of it for the people who couldn't afford a ticket, or people who want to experience it again. So as a result, October 6th is stacked. Some of these are probably going to be limited, but I'm actually pretty excited for all of these. The Big Gun, which I believe Mom will be coming down for. If you'd like to join us, you're more than welcome to, is The Exorcist Believer.
Oh, yeah.
How you feeling about these trailers?
They kind of tricked me. I thought I was getting a remake in the vein of like Halloween.
So when I sat down before Oppenheimer, they showed the first one of these.
Right.
And it was actually very effective because I didn't know the trailer was about to drop. I had not seen it online at all. And I think they did the thing where it came out and they didn't drop it online for like 2 weeks. Because when I went to rewatch it later that day and the next day and the next, it hadn't popped yet. But when I was watching this in the theater before Oppenheimer, it totally worked on me where I was like, I genuinely, like, this is my internal monologue, but I'm like, okay, I guess Universal's got some new Possession movie coming out. Okay, whatever. And I'm kind of tuning out, and then I'm like, oh, and Dowd. I was like, oh, okay, hold on a second. And I'm like, wait a second, that's Leslie Odom Jr. I was like, wait, is this what I think it is? And then Tubular Bells kick in like simultaneously as they're like, hey, here's Ellen Burstyn. And I was like, oh no, oh, this is it. I didn't know that. And then I had to like readjust because I was like, I didn't know this was happening. And so I'm just freaking out on that level. Trailer ends, and the predominantly, it was Barbenheimer weekend when I saw Oppenheimer. So a lot of couples and a lot of, just a younger crowd in general. A lot of people that clearly there for mostly Barbie, but also going to Oppenheimer. And just guffaws of laughter after the trailer. And I was just like, this is not, maybe this one's not hitting. Maybe people are burnt out. Maybe they don't have the respect and I'm also not one of those people who's like, oh, this classic franchise. I was like, oh, they ruined this franchise immediately,
Yeah.
and it never recovered. They never made another good one. Like 3 has a great scene, but 3 is not a good movie.
Are you talking about the hallway
I mean,
scenes?
yeah, that sequence is incredible.
Yeah.
But that movie is a slog, dog. It's a slog. But all of this is to say, it's David Gordon Green. You know, you win some, you lose some with the Halloween reboot. That's more sacred ground to me than this is. And again, another franchise that's had many ups and downs. So I'm kind of like, dude, go for it, man. Like, I'm interested. Let's see what happens. Ellen Burstyn's still one of my all-time top 5 favorite actresses, period. And I think she's still got the goods. So I'm just happy to see her back in the mix. And I have high hopes for it. At the very least, I just hope Mom and I have a good time at the theater. And I hope you join us.
Yeah.
Same day, Royal Hotel, which stars Julia Garner from Ozark. I know you're a fan. I have not seen an episode of Ozark. Also has Jessica Henwick in it. And this is the same director who did The Assistant from a couple years ago. People are excited about that one. Foe, which has Saoirse Ronan and Paul Mescal, and is based on an Ian Reid novel, which I have on my shelf right now, and I'm going to try and cram in before the 6th. Ian Reid wrote I'm Thinking of Ending Things, which was the Charlie Kaufman movie from a couple years ago, which I absolutely loved. So I was trying to get ahead of the game because I knew they were making this one, and I still have not read Foe, so now I'm desperately scrambling to finish it. But yeah, it is a drama sci-fi thriller. Hen and Junior farm at a secluded piece of land that has been in Junior's family for generations, but their quiet life is thrown into turmoil when an uninvited stranger shows up at their door with a startling proposal. It's The Box. It's The Box 2.
Yeah.
Sorry. Anyways, and that is being directed by Garth Davis, who did Lion, Mary Magdalene, nothing I have actually seen. I guess he worked on the Top of the Lake series. Okay, same day, we're still on October 6th. I'm very interested in this one. Cat Person has played the festivals. It's got our boy cousin Greg from Succession, Mr. Nicholas Braun, and Emilia Jones. This is one of those based on a true story, similar to like Zola, with I think some embellishments. But I think it's based on a blog post essentially. But it's basically a dating situation that went really weird. When Margot, a college sophomore, goes on a date with the older Robert, she finds that in real life, IRL, Robert doesn't live up to the Robert she has been flirting with over text. A razor-sharp exploration of the horrors of dating. Basically, the crux of it, at least in the trailer, is she finds out maybe he doesn't have a cat. And it's like, well, he said he's a cat person on his, and it's like, maybe that's just what guys say to seem less threatening. Like, blah, blah, blah.
Okay.
It looks funny and dark and twisted and thorny with its subject matter, and I'm very interested to see it. So again, those 3, Royal Hotel, Foe, and Cat Person, are all going to be limited, but everybody's trying to get out in front of the Taylor movie, The Eras Tour, which is 2 hours and 40 goddamn minutes long. But that drops on the 13th.
I can't.
And then we get Killers of the Flower Moon on the 20th. That pretty much wraps out my interest for October. But I've tried to remain, because again, we just had this dead zone, and it felt weird because we had all this great energy coming off of Barbenheimer. But I've tried not to get too down because on a personal level, I'm getting I got a new Wes Anderson movie this year. I got a new Ari Aster movie this year. I'm getting a new Scorsese, a new Fincher, a new Michael Mann, a new Sofia Coppola. I'm getting a lot of good things. Getting a lot of things that I enjoy. So I'm trying to get hyped. I'm trying to be excited. It's been a weird year though. It's been a very weird year. Okay.
You know what else you're gonna get?
But yes, excuse me. November 3rd, Priscilla. That's the new Sofia Coppola. The other side of the Elvis story from Priscilla's perspective. very much looking forward to that one.
Is Austin Butler coming back?
No, Jacob Elordi from Euphoria. You don't know him, do you? Nate from Euphoria.
Cool.
You would be like, oh, that's who she picked to play Elvis. Oh, and again, not one of my auteurs, but, you know, one of people's boys. On November 22nd, Napoleon from fucking Ridley Scott.
Oh,
and it does have one of my boys in it, but, I mean, truly, my guy, my main squeeze, my main man.
Who's playing Napoleon?
Joaquin Phoenix.
Oh.
my guy, my main squeeze, my main man. You know, that's what I was just saying. Yeah. Trailer, honestly, not that compelling. I was like, I mean, it looks like a historical epic, but I'm there. I'll be there. Did you know they're making Thanksgiving an actual movie?
No, I didn't.
This? Eli Roth's finally doing it,
yes.
November 17th. So,
thank God.
You know, that could be fun. I do have my eyes on this one called American Fiction, which just won the Audience Award at Toronto.
This holiday season.
It stars Jeffrey Wright. Yes.
In a body bag.
Yes. So the trailer does not have the trailer voice, and I'm very disappointed. Also, the aesthetic is not a Grindhouse aesthetic. It's shot like it's modern. My only critiques of the trailer, but go watch it, you know.
Yeah.
We'll see where he goes with it. Okay, but yeah, a new Ridley Scott on November 22nd. We didn't get to it yet. You highlighted it earlier. I know you want to talk about it. December 1st. There's a new Jeff Nichols movie this year, dude.
Yeah.
This year's great. I hope these movies are good, but I'm just saying, in general, the fact that we get new shit from all these people we love that hasn't been pushed yet.
Jeff Nichols
Fingers
does not
crossed.
make bad movies, no more.
Yeah. Some I like more than others.
Have you seen Loving?
I actually never saw
So
Loving.
fucking good.
That's the only one I haven't seen.
The only one I haven't seen is Shotgun Stories.
Well, what the fuck's the matter with you?
I gotta find it somewhere. I'm sure it's available.
I'll find you my DVD.
I went back and Becky was like, I was like, you've seen like Mud. We watched Mud, right? Because I can't remember what we've seen. She's like, I don't know, maybe we didn't. I was like, I'm instantly trying to find it because I want an excuse to watch it again. I was like, I know I showed you Midnight Special. She's like, what's that one about again? I'm like, with the boy and the cult. She's like, oh yeah, I remember that one. And as soon as she saw McConaughey, she's like, wait a minute, that's like he's on a boat and like he's like out in the swamp. I was like, yeah, okay, you've seen Mud, never mind. So then I'm like, have you seen?
You're like, wait, was he in a simulation or not? Because we may be talking about Serenity.
Right.
Was he hunting a very large fish?
I said, well, you, not big fish, a large fish. I said, okay. I said, have you seen Take Shelter? And she was like, what's that one about? I was like, we should just watch it. I said, because like the last 5 minutes
That's
of
a
that
great,
movie
like,
are like the most amazing thing I've ever seen.
That's a great
movie.
don't tell anybody what this movie's
No,
about.
of course
movie.
not, dude.
Okay, but yeah, the bike riders. You know, it's been a little bit of time off from our buddy Jeff. Glad to have him back.
Yeah.
Hot off the Oscar nomination, Mr. Austin Butler, Jodie Comer, also in here. Tom Hardy. Did Jodie Comer get a nom for Last Duel? I can't remember if she did or not. I think that one kind of got ignored.
So.
But she was great in it regardless. I like her quite a bit. Tom Hardy and Michael Shannon. I mean, just a top 4 right there that I'm like, we're going to have a good time.
Yeah.
But this is based on a book of photographs of a Midwestern motorcycle gang.
Yeah.
And, yeah, it's just capturing that era, but he just kind of wrote a story out of this. So it's again, based on a book, but a visual book that's not really like about any particular gang from what I understand. It's just kind of an exploration of that time.
That culture.
Yes, lifestyle. So
yeah.
I'm very interested. We'll see. We shall see on December 1st. If it holds, I assume they'll keep it around. Obviously, some of these things... Sorry. We follow this shit, and anybody that's listening right now, I always assume is like, you know, interested in this stuff. But to clarify, the reason everything got pushed because of the writer's strike is not because it's not finished. Some of that is the case, but a lot of these things were like fucking wrapped, you know, picture locked, etc. The prints are ready. But if the stars can't promote it, some movies are like, perfect example, Killers of the Flower Moon does not need Leonardo DiCaprio to go out and shill for it,
right,
to sell it as a movie.
Mm-hmm.
Martin Scorsese, who's part of the DGA, which they're all square with the studios and everything right now, so directors can promote. You can get special waivers and stuff as an actor, but Scorsese could go out there and promote it. But also, again, that movie itself, on the name, the fact that Leo is in a new movie, he doesn't have to actually sell it. Like, that's enough to guarantee you, like, probably a solid 40 million opening, if not more, if you have more awareness of it. They've had 3 sets of trailers for this movie, and it has Martin Scorsese's name on it. Like, it's going to do fine. So that's the thing that they're not worried about. But something like Dune, even as big a property as that is, they got a lot riding on part 2, hitting, delivering, and they need Zendaya and they need Chalamet pressing the flesh, dude. They need them out there. They need them on social media, and they can't do that right now.
Right.
So I'm just explaining to everybody why some stuff has moved and some stuff has not.
But you talk about that, but like, I wonder what that extends to, because like, part of me feels like maybe Dune, maybe it doesn't, maybe I'm wrong, but big things like Dune, big things that aren't shot on location here, I'm assuming that's what they did with Killers of the Flower Moon. They didn't go to China. They didn't go to these other countries for tax breaks. They made it here. But like, if I
would assume they shot it as close to the I don't know this for a fact, but I would assume they shot it as close to the actual location of where it happened as they possibly could.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
On the same ground. Something like Dune, something that's a bigger like science fiction or any bigger like set piece film that like you need the Chinese box office to make your money back. It seems like those type of films, again, are the ones that like, as much as people want to stand in solidarity, as much as they want to be like, I'm not doing this, it's kind of like, yeah, you need to. If you got points attached, or if you got something on the back end for ticket sales, you need the market. You need to do it. And again, love a free market economy. Capitalism is amazing if you're in the right spot. It sucks for people who can't get to there. We should have a more equalized system and distribution of wealth. I'm not getting into that, not litigating it. But this is the thing that shows you the power of people unionizing. Socialism is a dirty word in this country. You can't say it. But the fact of the matter is, you can't give everything to everybody, but you can't have everybody trying to get the thing either. You got to have enough people that you're giving some stuff to, and enough people who are willing to go out and get it themselves. That's what a free market does. So you're going to see these things where like smaller studios are going to go out and get it because they're willing to say, yeah, I'll do this. I'll meet your demands. They're not crazy. And at the end of the day, again, the argument started out with, we don't want artificial intelligence to be creating things.
It's one of the many sticking points.
You know, and the fact that like I wrote something 20 years ago and I got paid for it then, but now you are making tons of money off of re-showing this. Where's my cut? I totally understand that.
It's a complete failure to acknowledge that, like, look,
the music business hasn't solved streaming.
The, like, cutthroat capitalist perspective of, if you were gonna be a weirdo and fucking side with the studios here, it's like, yes, I fundamentally get that, like, your business model changed drastically over the course of the last decade. And so you're trying to like keep everything flowing the way you want it to and see, exponential growth. You got to keep the shareholders happy, blah, blah, blah. That's all it's fucking focused on. I 100% get that. You can't have any fucking art without commerce at a certain extent. On that level, you just can't have it, period. Right. I get it. But I don't get the mindset of like how much money they're leaving on the table right now by like holding out for so long. And I do think there will be this long-term effect of like, even when they do reach whatever, everything gets leveled out, which eventually it will, of course, they'll come to some sort of agreement. But I think some people are going to have some pretty long-term memories and be like, you know what? I remember this motherfucker was like, no, it's more important that I keep my stake in things instead of budging a little bit and acknowledging that like the whole system has been broken by streaming. So we need to stop and reassess and find a new way of laying things out for everybody in this industry, because the industry has fundamentally changed, essentially. Mm-hmm. It's like, it's a new frontier. So I get this whole like frustration over like, well, we're just trying to like keep the status quo. But I'm like, but everybody needs to acknowledge that, like, it's not the same business model it was before. I mean, you figure out what the new one is, but they're not even, it seems like they're not even talking about that because they're getting hung up on all this other peripheral, almost ideological bullshit of the fight over AI, which I'm like...
Well, no, but that's the fear, because that's how you keep the status quo, is you just feed the data into AI and it gives you what you've had. So it's smart for them to include that, to say, I want to get paid, and I also don't want you to use something that's not my voice to make it.
I agree. Yeah. Them fighting for that 100%, but I'm saying it gives ammunition for them to, like, write these articles essentially, which is weird to see, where it's like, oh, the writers have all these insane demands about, like, AI, like, don't they sound crazy? Like, this shit's never gonna happen. And it's like, you're like, no, this shit's, like, definitely, like, actively happening, like, right
We've
now.
Been
Like, what are you
it's
talking
gonna happen
about?
in movies for years, like, and now it's finally come home to
you've
roost.
got what fucking Secret Invasion with, like, the open credit sequence is all, like, done by AI, and they were like, yeah, it's done by AI. I was like, maybe not something you want to admit to in the midst of all this shit, but anyways, okay.
I mean, let's just put it like this: the mouse gonna be okay.
Yeah,
it doesn't matter what any of y'all want to do.
I mean, it really doesn't matter.
The mouse gonna be all right. But I understand, again, like you said, you can't have art without commerce. But it's one of these things where, like, at some point,
I specifically
on a grand
say
scale,
on that scale, art can still exist without the commerce angle. You can try and be fugazi about it.
I've heard about plenty of these companies that are like, they're crowdfunded movie sources. There's, you get together, you join, you put your money behind a project, you get to say, hey, I helped made that. And on a weird way, I was almost wondering if that would be, I know it's not sustainable, but, like, would anybody turn to that market? Because, again, one of the things I'm really excited about coming out this year is Chuck Hank and the San Diego Twins. I just can't wait for it.
Why'd you have to even invoke it, dude?
And so... But I'm saying, like, if those guys, if they needed the money for it, and they could show me, like, I got it right here on a disc, I just need money to get it out, I might reach in my 401k and throw them a few bones. If I could get just a DVD copy, if I could just get a screener, you can keep your Coat Wolf name across it, so I got to watch that the whole movie. I just want to see it, okay? It's like Chuck Hank and the San Diego Twins and a Blu-ray of Greg Araki's Nowhere. That's like the only two movies I need. If I get those, I might die. Because, like, all the movies I want to see or all the things I've wanted in movies are done, There's other things I can come up with, but still. My point being is that I was hoping at some point maybe that might be something that creeps in there where you have more things that are being funded. Like, somebody can present, like, this is what I want to do, this is what I'm thinking. Would you crowdfund it? And would somebody who is used to making a very, very big salary said, you know what? It's not a big studio. It's not really that much money, but I play pretend for a living. I get in costumes. I get made up. I put different hair, different shoes, different nose, different face, and I just play pretend. I'm fucking 5 years old playing pretend with my brothers and sisters, and I get to do that with other people.
It's killing me not to talk about the movie that I just realized is coming out the same weekend as the Bike Riders.
What's that?
It's called Not Another Church Movie.
Oh, yes.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
Starring Mickey Rourke as the devil.
Okay.
Jamie Foxx as God.
That works.
Also have Vivica A. Fox in here.
A staple of church movies.
Kyla Pratt. Tisha Campbell. Lamorne Morris. Patricia Belcher, who you'll remember from Jeepers Creepers. Jeepers Creepers. Yeah. Bunch of other people you recognize. The poster, I was like, not another teen. Are they doing a new Not Another Teen movie? Because that's the vibe. I realized it looks like it's a parody of Tyler Perry films.
Yeah, probably.
With Jamie Foxx as God in it. I kind of, maybe I need to add this to the list. Yeah. There's also a movie on this same date just called COVID. One ticket for COVID, please. I like one COVID. Right. What the fuck? It's a thriller. It's not even a doc. Oh my God.
Are they just
a scientist and his clairvoyant wife are quarantined in a French mansion, feverishly working on a cure to save humanity when supernatural forces begin to interfere with their plans. And it's just called COVID.
And who's in it?
There is no listed cast. It's in pre-pro. How are you coming out? How are you coming out December 1st if you're in pre-pro right now?
That's going to change.
I don't buy it. I don't fucking buy it. Were you gonna say something? Sorry.
Oh no, I mean
I gotta hit two. Gotta hit
ahead.
2 more on my auteurs list. We were just talking about him earlier. I don't know how I didn't bring it up. Old Lanthey's got a new movie, baby.
What?
Poor Things. You seen the trailer for this one?
Yes, I have.
With Emma Stone once again, his muse of the last several years. They've made like, it's the favorite in this, but apparently in secret they also made a second and third movie, or third and fourth rather. Yeah. It's basically like Bride of Frankenstein.
Right.
Is the vibes I'm getting. You got Ruffalo, Dafoe, Rami Youssef. I'm very excited. December 8th. The same day as the only other neck and neck thing that maybe edges out Killers of the Flower Moon just on sheer principle. I forgot to mention amongst all of these, we get a fucking Hayao Miyazaki movie this year. Potentially the final one. The Boy and the Heron. It's already come out in Japan. It's already cleaned up at the box office. Crushing it over there. I haven't read any in-depth reviews. I've been trying to stay vague. They intentionally didn't market it in Japan at all. Nothing. No trailer. There was like one poster image. They didn't do any marketing. Fucking crushed it at the box office.
Of course.
Number 1. Genius move. They did a soft version of it over here, so they have released a very, very light teaser. They did a teaser that was essentially all text-based, just giving you a little bit of outline of the story. And they did one teaser trailer that maybe features, like, all told, maybe like 45 seconds of animation. But a lot of different scenes in it. Don't really know much about it. Don't really need to know much about it. But it's the thing he's been working on for forever. It's ostensibly his last movie. It's going to be an event. It'll get like a big release here, which I'm very excited about.
And it'll win Best Animation? Best Foreign?
I mean, one would hope, but I've seen some amazing animated movies this year. And I you know, judging nothing in advance, I would kind of say this movie's probably sitting at like an 11 out of 10 already before I've seen it. Mm-hmm. The only thing it can do is disappoint me, which is a terrible place for a movie to be in. Yeah. My only expectations are that it is one of the most profound works of art of my lifetime and of modern movie history. Those are my only expectations. So I'm not asking much, you know. I just need it to be that. And it would deliver. It would deliver. He just needs to go out on the greatest note ever, because he chose to make another movie. And if he had just ended on The Wind Rises, that would have been a pretty fucking killer way to end your career. Pretty great final statement. A very bleak one, but also, you know, somewhat hopeful. Anyways, yeah, The Boy and the Heron also opens on December 8th. Wonka? You excited for Wonka?
Can't wait.
Fuck that movie. Nothing about it looks
How many actors do you think are like, I love Gene Wilder's career?
Just
who's clamoring for Wonka? Timothy Chalamet as Wonka? Is that what you're wondering? Who's clamoring for that?
Why did we do it once? Like, I know why we did it. He was, I mean,
you owed him. He got to do what he wanted to do. It's fair game.
We didn't owe him anything.
No, the studio probably owed Tim Burton something, and they had to do something for him.
I'm just saying.
And they own the rights.
I get that was an era where it was just like, let these boys do whatever they want to do because he's Jack Sparrow. But like, I get it. I know why those decisions were made. And I got over it. Like, I was like, okay, I made my peace with it. But the fact that we're coming back once again for another bite at the apple from a movie that, for me personally, and I think for a lot of people, is like literally untouchable. I'm not saying it's a masterpiece of a movie, but that performance is so singular. All you can do is
try and imitate.
Is fuck it up. Like, that's literally all you can do. You can be like, oh, I'm doing this hard left turn. I'm playing Michael Jackson. I'm just like, shut the fuck up, dude. Whatever. You can do that and be a fucking creep and a weirdo about it. Or you can do whatever the fuck Chalamet is doing in this trailer, which I'm just like, dude, I like you. Like, I don't like that I like you as much as I like you, but I like you. And I don't know who thought this was a good idea. I don't know who signed off on this. And Hugh Grant as a fucking Oompa Loompa? No, sir. I will not stand for it. I will not stand for it. God damn it.
The Roald Dahl book is Charlie and the Chocolate Factory.
Correct.
Right. Okay.
Yes. Nobody wants to know more about Charlie and his poor fucking existence.
Well, Grandpa Joe is a piece of shit human being. We all know that. Can get up and walk around the entire time he's just been laid up in that bed.
We're getting some Roald Dahl from my boy Wes Anderson on Netflix. He's got more movies this year.
Cool.
Already dropped Asteroid City. I know you loved it. I know you were over the moon for Asteroid
have you
City.
Seen this? And I'm like,
I don't watch those.
I saw the fucking
those
poster
go on
image.
This shelf.
I saw the poster image of it. She's like, "This looks kind of good." I'm like, "I'm not watching it." She's like, "Why?" I was like,
I don't like those aesthetics.
Yeah.
I don't like that color palette. I don't like when there's 15 names on the poster. What's he got to brag about? Oh, I got all these people together. Look at me.
Which one? Who's the one? Who's the one that did the gambling one and then he did Boogie Nights?
The gambling one and then he did Boogie Nights?
Yeah.
You're such a prick, dude. Paul Thomas Anderson.
I like him. He's okay.
He's okay in my book.
I watched his stuff.
All right.
W.S. Anderson still top notch.
The
top
best
shelf.
of the Andersons, as we all know.
Shelf,
the top
right?
of the Andersons.
Right. But this West guy, I just don't get it, man. Maybe I need to hang out with him.
I don't think you guys would have a lot to talk about.
But maybe that's it. Maybe I just need to hang out with him and be like, okay, I think I get it now. Let me go watch your stuff. And I might have like a newfound love for it.
You used to be a little pretentious French New Wave little fuck. And you lost it at some point. You had it beaten out of you. I don't know by who. But you used to love Godard and Truffaut and all that bullshit.
Do.
That's what I'm saying. I don't get why he doesn't work for you.
Because he's just doing that.
But he's doing his own little version of it, bro. His own American. It's like all that, but through a kid who grew up in Texas and was like, I'm a little weird art boy. I like all this stuff, but I'm stuck here.
Who made Bottle Rocket?
Wes Anderson.
Okay, that's all right. That's an okay one. That one's not crazy.
He just recently said that he thinks that was the most free he ever was with his movies. And it's like, no shit, dude. Yeah. Everything else has been locked down to a fucking grid post Rushmore. Rushmore was the last time that you were kind of like, oh, it's a little loosey-goosey. This is a little more...
I saw Rushmore. I thought it was funny. Like,
no, a lot of people... Dude, you gotta like Tenenbaums. Gene Hackman just crushing.
I like The Life Aquatic.
Dude, damn. Wes Anderson.
Okay. He's all right.
God damn.
All right.
No, I was just going to say, dude, Royal Tenenbaums, Danny Glover and Gene Hackman, did you call me Coltrane? Like, that shit's magic, dude. Like, fuck. Oh, God. You got to give Tenenbaums another chance.
I might.
That one's really approachable.
I feel like it might be.
If you're saying you like the first chunk, I think you like Wes Anderson, Gavin. I like Bottle Rocket. Rushmore, that one's okay. Life Aquatic, I'm like... Dude, Life Aquatic is the make or break for most people. A lot of people are like, that's when he lost me. That's when I was done.
Maybe that's it. Maybe I like all those. Because Life Aquatic is after the Royal Tenenbaums, right?
Yeah, it's right after.
Yeah, so maybe everyone since then have just been like, wow, way to go, Pretentious.
Have you watched any of the ones past it?
I just...
Or just on principle, you're like...
I look at them and I'm just like, no.
Okay.
I don't get what they're supposed to tell me about the human experience.
But you like those. Well, that's why I think you should watch Asteroid City, because it's basically a guy going like, so here's what I've been doing with my entire career. Here's my approach basically to filmmaking. Was it all worth it? No, it's more of a, was it all worth it? Did I do it in the right way? Is there worth in like trying to approach all of these themes and piling all of this abstraction on it? Like, that's literally what that movie's about. So if you're a guy who's kind of like, I don't know about this fucking Wes Anderson, I highly recommend you watch Asteroid City, because it's kind of Wes Anderson going like, I don't know about this fucking Wes Anderson guy. Like, that's what I really liked about it. But, case in point, Evan Tuick, who's been a consistent fan, I would say, this whole time. And to that point, we've never sat down and gone like, well, what do you like about him? What do you get out of his movies? We've never had that conversation. But this one came out and he was like, dude, I didn't like that one. Probably one of my least favorites. Just didn't connect with it. Just, yeah. And I was like, dude, I think this is the best movie he's made since Grand Budapest Hotel. I think it's fantastic.
It's probably the titles after The Life Aquatic with Steve Buscemi that they're just like, okay, whatever, dude. The Most Exotic Marigold Hotel.
Dude, Grand Budapest Hotel, Ralph Tickets fucking crushes.
Cool.
You love Ralph Tickets.
I do love Ralph Tickets. I just watched 2 Harry Potter movies last weekend. Like, I get it.
Can't say his name in those, though.
No, you can't.
You gotta call him Ralph Tickets.
Tommy Riddles. Yeah.
What if he was called Ralph Tickets in those movies?
What
and
if
Ray Fiennes as Ralph Tickets.
He
who shall not be named. In quotes, Ralph Tickets.
I tell you what, if Wes Anderson makes another movie with Ray Fiennes,
I think he's in one of the Roald Dahls that's coming up.
Okay.
Or maybe it's just Cumberbatch.
But if Ray Fiennes ever plays a character named Ralph Tickets, I'm done. We can shut this podcast down.
Okay.
We'll call it.
All right.
That's life imitating art, imitating life all over again, dude. I just look. I'm not doubting that he's an amazing filmmaker and that like these things hold a certain place for people, but I'm looking for a partner with a little more sophistication, a touch of the Dunkirk spirit, you know. I mean, sorry, I literally, dude, I'm so happy.
Okay.
They just let the Long Good Friday soundtrack back onto Apple Music, and I've just been there's so much fucking
it was
shit.
missing for a while.
It's one of those where like certain songs, like it's not available in your region for right now. Like for some reason, Beauty Behind the Madness and like one of the Weeknd album, they were gone from
like somebody owned. Like with that one, I guess it's maybe somebody owned like the international distribution rights in like different territories for the Long Good Friday soundtrack,
and the
which is a fucking banger.
Split Ends, they weren't up on there for a while, and then they're back. They were back on Apple Music. So yeah, it's all that because it's like Snoop Dogg. He bought all the Death Row shit and he took it off of every streaming. Like you can't. He's waiting for the. He's one of those guys.
Oh no, I'm a huge Snoop Dogg fan for all of that shit.
Yeah.
Yes,
like I don't get it.
I mean, already was, but I'm saying
I get streams. You can't even give me $1 a stream. I got 1 million streams. That's my $1 million. Give me my money for my stream. Like he gets it. Have him figure out your movie problem. He'll solve every problem right there.
I just want Snoop to be in more movies. Can we just make that happen? Okay. And, Aquaman comes out, whatever, the second one. Hush Tones. And then on Christmas Day, we get the true Christmas present. No, we get the true Christmas present.
What's that?
Ferrari. From Michael Mann.
Oh.
Why are you looking at me like
Ferrari?
that?
I'm like, what are you talking?
Ferrari with Michael Mann.
Yeah.
Starring Adam Driver.
Yeah.
Penelope Cruz. Shailene Woodley. Patrick Dempsey. I can't wait.
Is this going to go into the feud with which one was it?
So this is specifically, he's doing in typical Michael Mann fashion, because of course I'm sure a lot of people were like, when I first heard this, I was like, oh, is it just like the other side of the Ford versus Ferrari?
Yeah.
And I don't know why. I thought they were competing projects at the time. But no. It's set in the summer of 1957. Enzo Ferrari's auto empire in crisis. The ex-racer turned entrepreneur pushes himself and his drivers to the edge as they launch into the Mille Miglia?
Mm-hmm.
I'm probably butchering it. A treacherous 1,000-mile race across Italy. So yeah, it's like a year in his life, I think. Specifically isolated down. Or maybe it's just a couple months, actually. But yeah. Centered around prepping for that race and some personal turmoil, I'm sure.
I'm trying to remember.
But yeah, obviously, we can't wait, dude. It's been too long.
Way too long.
As excited as I am for some of these, but Man is definitely right now in the category of like in the way we're excited for Jeff Nichols. Like, it's been too long. Jonathan Glazer also, it's not dated, but Zone of Interest, which for all intents and purposes is a front runner for Best Picture, even though only I feel like a couple hundred people have seen it. But that is obviously hotly anticipated as well, because he only makes a movie every 10 years basically. It's like the new Terrence Malick, because Terrence Malick actually works a lot now. Okay.
Yeah, it's like it's one of those. I'm just wondering if they're gonna make note. It's a little anecdote that apparently like, the guy who created Lamborghini, the rival to Ferrari, realized like he could fix his own tractor with like Ferrari parts, and that made him think like, well, maybe I can just make my own car, and then he makes Lamborghini, which I feel like they're luxury. No, they're not. They didn't try to compete for like shit that mattered, and that's probably why you don't think of like them as a powerhouse when it comes to like.
Yeah, no, they're a show car.
Yeah, they look pretty.
Yeah.
But like Ferrari, like everybody knows, it doesn't matter how nice it looks. It's what's underneath the engine. Yep. Yeah, I think that will be...
That'll be a nice way to cap off the year. Very excited. And again, there's probably plenty of Oscar buzzy stuff that I didn't cover that just hasn't been dated yet or is actively may or may not be being pushed. I know because... it's a bunch of international producers, and I think Neon maybe has their name on it as well. They've been able to promote it. Adam Driver's had a waiver as well, so he's been able to promote it at the festivals, which is why I do not see this one being moved at all. I think we can count on most of these coming out. Pretty excited for Saltburn. That's one I didn't get to because I don't think it has a date on it yet, but that's the new Emerald Fennell. She did Promising Young Woman.
Oh, okay.
Like 2 years ago. But that's got Barry Keoghan from Killing a Sacred Deer, Jacob Elordi from Euphoria, and Rosamund Pike as well. And fucking Carey Mulligan coming back from Promising Young Woman. Yeah, excited for that. There's a few other things that haven't been dated, but I think it's going to be a good fall.
Suburban Screams.
Well, that's what I was going to say. We wanted to get all of that out of the way because, of course, what we're going to be doing, at least for the month of excuse me, I almost slipped into it. The month of October will once again become ARKTOBER, and we will be doing our all horror themed month. So don't expect to hear about Killers of the Flower Moon until we're on the other side of this, but that'll also be anybody who hasn't read the book, and then we'll be able to have a very free-flowing, open-ended conversation about the adaptation, the actual story. I look forward to that one, but that'll be like our first episode in November. We'll go ahead and say that. After I've seen it in theaters, 5 or 6 times.
Right.
But yeah, one of the things I guess we can say we'll be covering, because it launches on the 6th. Is that correct?
13th.
13th. And, obviously I'll want to talk to Mom about Exorcist, so I think we can add that to the slate. But yeah, we'll be covering
the second Friday in October.
Hell yeah.
Friday the 13th.
Yes, and there's a Friday the 13th in October, so I almost feel like we have to do something with the brothers Blanchard and something Friday the 13th related. I don't know. We'll have to figure that out. But yeah, we will definitely be talking about a new John Carpenter related property, which just feels like very nice to be able to say. What the fuck does he have to do with this? I guess is my question.
Unscripted horror anthology. The show has 6 episodes of true tales of horror that took place in seemingly perfect American hometowns.
So we're recreating. Gotcha. So his name,
first-hand accounts,
his name is slapped on it.
Cinematic reenactments,
right?
Personal archives, historic town press coverage. He directed the first. He's directing an episode, producing it all, and composed the theme music. So he is technically directing a television show. He's already done TV movies.
I guess my other...
But
I guess my other question
camera.
was going to be, like, obviously, we want it to be body bags. Like, I wanted to have him as your crypt keeper, as interstitials between it. Obviously not campy, because this is true crime. We don't want to be disrespectful, but I would like to have him involved in some capacity. Just the voice, man. I mean, the voice is fucking killer. So I hope it's an element beyond just him being behind the camera. But you said he did the music, so that's exciting.
And again, producer. I mean, it's one of those where like...
And it seems like going back to the core of something that he's always kind of tried to hammer home anytime he's interviewed about Halloween, but just his career perspective on horror in general, which is just like, no, the more like... The supernatural stuff is kind of whatever. The more grounded it is into just like, this could happen to you, or like the horrors behind closed doors, the stuff we don't talk about, is the stuff that actually bothers him. It's maybe not the stuff that he makes movies about, but it's the stuff that like, oh, what scares the master of terror? It's
Yeah.
like, oh, real shit that human beings do to each other every day. So I think it's great setup. When you sent me that thing, I had not seen anything about this, like hadn't heard it announced.
Oh yeah, I was so excited.
It immediately got me interested. So, and that'll be on Peacock.
Yes.
Awesome.
Yep. In matter of fact, the other night when I was painting, I looked at new stuff that was up, and I was like, The Thing. It's not October yet, but I'm gonna just put this movie on while I'm painting.
I've been dancing around the edges because so they're covering Fincher right now on Blank Check, and so I was like, oh well, or no, I think independent of that, I just wanted to rewatch the Alien movies. Because
they
were covering
thrown
them
up on different like streaming things back to back to back to back.
And of course, I have my nice box set, which has like an alternate version of each one of the movies. So I was like, oh, which one did I watch most recently? Blah blah blah. But anyways, I knew I needed to get to Alien 3 to open the Fincher series. So I was kind of like, all right, well, let's watch them. And then I end up doing all of them. I watched Covenant for the first time in a while. Liked it a lot more than the first time.
Second time around.
Yeah. And yeah, going back through all of them, Resurrection, even being at the bottom of the barrel, still got a lot of fun shit in there. And I think I put 3 slightly above it. I know some people have tried to like reclaim 3. Still not fully there with it. Still kind of half a movie. But
you can't make a woman's only reason for existence the personal stake of like, I'm going back into this trauma. I don't want to, but I have to get my life together. And I could just as easily say fuck it, but then my surrogate lost daughter's here and I have to do this for her. You can't give me that emotional attachment that Cameron brilliantly does, and then tell me in a David Fincher movie they just did. Well, they died on impact. They ain't live no more.
Well, anyways, not a script choice by him. We won't lay it at his feet. But I was also gonna say, yeah, I mean, they totally can do that. It just wasn't handled well. Like, there's a way to do that and actually have it, like, really hit and, like, be upsetting as opposed to the way it approaches it. We don't have to get into all of that. Anyways, I've been dancing around the edges, and obviously they just did 7. So I did rewatch 7 for, like, the trillionth, billionth time. The one Spacey movie that I will still go back to on a regular basis because it's like, he's a monster in this, so it's kind of okay. Kind of feel fine.
Did you see where he got like acquitted of shit and his lawyers were talking about like, oh yeah, come back baby? I'm like, no.
I was like, I don't think so. I don't think everybody's just like, oh, okay, we're gonna let him be Frank again. I don't think that's gonna happen, bud. I think you're done. You can go make movies with like Polanski overseas, I guess. Yeah. That's what you want to do. But I don't think you're gonna have a career here anymore.
Doesn't matter that you.
I don't think you had these legion of fans who were just like, "Oh, he was unfair. This one was really unfair." And like, well, one day.
I still think about the meme I saw. It's like, officer, hey, do you know why I pulled you over? Kevin Spacey, I'm gay. Read the fucking room, bro.
And that's the other thing. Is just like, dude, you don't understand. It's like, it wasn't just what you did, it's how you handled everything surrounding what you did, which was, to begin with, incredibly fucked up and inappropriate and not okay. But then the fact that you were like, it's okay because I'm gay. And it's like, we all knew you were fucking gay. It's like, it's not... It's
the worst kept secret in Hollywood.
Like, dude, and it's like, don't throw gay people under the bus. Like, what the fuck is wrong? Like, what are you saying? Like... Oh, it's okay. This is fine in our community. I'm like, no, your community's not okay with
Bruce
this.
Bruce Valanche
dude.
will not stand for this.
Fuck off. Oh man. Okay. Well, I don't want to end on that note. No. So, okay. Shows that we're excited for. I'm watching Changeling right now, which is kind of horror fantasy adjacent. I'm hoping it maybe goes a little more horror as we move into October. I don't know.
I watched the first.
Excited about the Scream thing we just mentioned.
You gonna watch the Boys series?
Gen V?
Yeah.
I'm intrigued.
Me too.
Check it out.
Interesting. What's going on with Invincible, dude? We got like one new episode with the. Is that it? Was all we're getting?
One new episode.
There's a
spinoff thing, but it was like
it was one episode with the what's her face?
He said it was this year. I think it's November, but I'll double check.
I'm just curious. I'm trying to think. I mean, there's
On the TV front, we were very excited for, and we kind of didn't cover this because you haven't finished it. Winning Time kind of ended what felt like very prematurely. Only a 7-episode second season. It's now canceled. So it feels very awkwardly wrapped up. You'll see what I mean when you get to it, where it's just kind of like, oh, okay, we're done. That was the whole series. Okay. Kind of just peters out. Honestly, I mean, we really liked the first season of that show quite a bit.
It was perfect for what it was.
And I think season 2, in kind of trying to like course correct from some of the stuff that people seem to not like about season 1, kind of like tripped over itself and ended up becoming a little bit like boring because of it. And then kind of ends on this awkward note. I don't know. We'll talk about it on the back end, but that's done. And then I was like, okay, but like we got True Detective right around the corner. Nuh-uh. They ditched season 4 to next year.
Oh.
Because they need Jodie Foster. Dude, you got to have Clarice Starling out there selling. Like, my new detective show, my comeback on HBO. We're reviving the series for the second time. Because it's been enough time since season 3 that I feel like people are still like, oh yeah, that's a show. They made more of those. I genuinely think people forget that that's like, no, it's kind of still one of their big dramas. It's on the slate. It's kind of always, if they want to come back to it, it's there.
See, and I
but
think, honestly,
they need her out there selling it. They need Jodie Foster. I get it.
If you could find I think if you found a vehicle like that for someone like Carpenter, who's wanted to just make an anthology, so you give him, here's one season, and you just do one thing. And all right, and then like a year later, if it's hot, you come back a year later, 2 years later, same thing, different completely. And then you just give somebody the time. And again, it's going to get to the point where like HBO can't do it, but Pluto could. Tubi, whatever.
Fubi, Tubi, Booby.
Yeah, yes. All those. They could come up with enough money from ads to be able to pay somebody and say, look, here, go make this thing and just do whatever you want. We just want the content. I mean, we are going to, I mark my words, out of this whole strike. One, I'm curious to see what new shit we get. But with where we go from here, I think you're going to see a lot more people and a lot more companies, smaller ones, finding ways to get financing, to get big names into these things, just solely for that. Because can you imagine like that the jury duty thing with Marsden? I don't know what that cost to make, and I don't know if their ads is part of it, but like I'm pretty sure if you did the math on that, it's probably one of the most profitable shows of this year, from if you had ads included in it or not.
Because it ran on Freevee initially,
which is on every.
See, I think when I
TV
watched it, it was on special preview through Prime, where there were no ads when I finally got to it, which was a couple weeks later.
Prime paid
because it was such a big success. Yeah,
you know, so they want the
and that show was fantastic.
Yeah. Yes, exactly. That's what I'm saying. And so that was like a microcosm. Like you could look at that show and be like, okay, so we're gonna fake a jury duty thing. We're gonna put somebody who the fact that somebody didn't understand who he was, I was just, and again, wherever you said it, it could be like, oh yeah, well this is James Marsden and he has to be.
Again, that was my argument. Is I was like, I'm sorry, but like if I walked into this same setup, I would have called bullshit on it within 5 minutes, because I'm like, I've seen you on Parks and Rec. I've seen you guest star on The Office. I've seen you on this. Like
as well, sir. You can't
exact that guy. I'm like, yes. I'm like, literally, I recognize like 3 or 4 of you out of the get go, and I'm like, and you're telling me fucking James Marsden's working jury duty? I'm like, bullshit.
You mean to tell me James Marsden, Cyclops, and Sewage Joe are the same?
Being on the West Coast, I guess you are kind of like, oh, it's conceivable that like a celebrity would show up in here, and then you just get lucky with the fact that I'm like, I guess this guy is not, again, specifically the dude from Res Dogs and Parks and Rec, who was like the creepy grimy dude on Parks and Rec.
Didn't they say they had to like keep, I watched something where they had to keep him from, like instantly he kind of had to turn away from him the first day and just not really like acknowledge that dude because they were afraid that he would know who he was. So
Right.
they kind of just like
Again, because to me, he's one of the most recognizable, just because he's been in a lot of shit.
Yeah.
But yeah, you just had to blindly get lucky. That show was great. Yeah. Anything else you want to hit? This is kind of our. What are we gonna call this? Are we gonna get really punny with it? Slipping into fall. Slip into fall.
Slip into
Slip
fall.
into fall. Slip into fall. I think that's it. That's definitely it.
Slip into fall and let's have a slip into fall and let's have a ball, and soon it's gonna be Christmas time.
Don't sue us, Elton. Please don't sue us, Elton. Universal Music Group, you can go fuck yourselves. I don't know if you own the rights to this, but you copyrighted me more than once, and yeah. Fuck the Universal Music Group. Yeah, I said it.
Yes.
Do you have that in the algorithm? Is this gonna get flagged? That I said that?
Yeah.
Huh? All right. We'll just test it. We'll see if they listen this far.
So, yeah. See if the AI that's running like code to look for universal stuff.
Yeah,
like,
if anybody else has
flag.
listened this far, thank you. We didn't quite wrap up, but we know ARKTOBER. We're going to cover the Carpenter series.
Yes.
There will be some sort of Exorcist-related content.
Yes.
We got to get the Brothers Blanchard in here or something.
We got to make up for not doing shit last year.
Yes, and I
think, know you had shows. I know you were doing stuff.
I think some sort of commentary.
Yeah.
I think we've always teased it. Some sort of syncable commentary that you could work into your.
No, if you want to do a Night of the Creeps commentary, just say so. God.
Night of the Creeps could be really fun.
If you want to do a Night of the commentary, God, we'll do it. Jesus.
You want to do a Night of the Night of commentary where we watch all of the Night of movies, anything with Night of in the title.
Yeah, I'm game.
Yeah.
It's right there. Night of the Comet, Night of the Living Dead, and then Night of the Creeps.
Try and find me something from hold on.
You know what I can't wait for?
What can you not wait?
In Search of Darkness 4.
I thought that already came out.
I know. It's a joke. It's like,
oh, okay. Was that the third or the fourth one? I don't know.
It's just, yeah, like the third one, but it's like 5 fucking hours, dude. You just hold. I wish they would just give me like a massive chunk. Do you just leave it on?
Let's try and.
What do we want to commit?
Maybe
to?
something that has an anniversary this year.
Okay.
It's an Exorcist anniversary. I think it is.
23.
Christine just turned 4. We've done a Christine episode.
93. What was 93? Big horror movie from 93. Give me one.
We might need to go back to 83.
I'm just saying, what was a bit? Maybe there's a hidden gem in 93 people forget about. Like Maniac Cop 3 or something.
Because that would be 30-year anniversary.
Yeah, right?
Okay. Hocus Pocus, Jason Goes to Hell, The Final Friday, Needful Things, The Dark Half, Cannibal the Musical, not a horror movie, Body Snatchers, the Abel Ferrara version, Nightmare Before Christmas, Fire in the Sky.
Oh, dude.
California with a K.
Talk about creepy Brad Pitt. And Duchovny's in that. And so is Juliette Lewis.
We're not doing a commentary for California.
No, you're talking about doing a commentary for. Oh,
you told me to give you name suggestions from 93.
Oh, no, you just said, think about
I said think about anniversaries as a possible option.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, what's 83? I mean, you got to have some great stuff there. Or we just do it with like a total schlock that's just terrible that like you can't find. Or we just do our own commentary of like a Joe Bob Briggs. We just find one of those. That's because that's the thing I love about Amazon. It's like you pick the show.
1983, Videodrome, Sleepaway Camp, The Dead Zone, Christine, The Keep, Cujo.
How have we done?
Hound of the Baskervilles.
How have we done 2 podcasts already for movies in 1983 with The Keep and Christine? We're just on top of it, bro.
Dude. And, you know, if you were a bigger Cronenberg guy, we would have already done Cronenberg's Cronies.
I'm a Cronenberg boy. I'm a crony boy. I mean...
You want to do...
I fucking love Videodrome. Are you kidding me?
Berg's
All hail the new
Cronies?
Flash, baby.
Cronies Bergs?
Yeah.
All right. Coming soon from the ARK of E. Another...
Cronenbergers.
Cronenbergers.
Welcome to the Cronenbergers. I'm Gavin Cronenberger.
Oh, shit. I'm glad I remembered it. Perfect end note. Okay.
What?
Well, one of the things I had threatened to do, and then the more I started to think about it, I was like, dude, we've actually covered a lot of them already. But Friedkin passed away. I said the day that I realized that he had passed. So do we finally do Feelin' Friedkin? You know, like, is it time to finally do it? And we have covered a lot of his movies in different capacities, especially if we did an in-depth Exorcist thing, we'd already be more than halfway there. The thing I forgot to mention, in the midst of all this, you know, treasure trove of riches we're about to get from some of our favorite directors for the rest of the year, we get the final Friedkin, and it comes out on Showtime / Paramount Plus on October 6th, which I forgot to mention, the same day that Exorcist Believer drops in theaters.
Same day our mother was born.
Yes, Mom's birthday as well, which is why it's even more awesome when they moved up Exorcist. I was like, they moved it from the week after to your birthday, Mom. It was going to be 2 days after my birthday, but now it's, yeah. Let me double check the date.
Yeah, that would have been dope with the Exorcist on Friday the 13th, though.
Yes, October 6th, The Caine Mutiny Court Martial, the final film from director William Friedkin, will be available on Showtime and Paramount Plus. Caine Mutiny, the movie you're thinking of, yeah, it's another adaptation of the book, or the play, rather.
The Caine, what is that about?
The Caine Mutiny.
Why do I know that name?
It's about a naval officer who stands trial for mutiny after taking command from a ship captain he feels is acting in an unstable way, putting in danger both the ship and its crew.
So it's like I think this is October?
Yes, but I think this is a more modern update of it. Here's our two leads, Kiefer Sutherland.
Of course.
And Jason Clarke.
Oh my God.
It's going to be a good time. For all intents and purposes, for good things about it coming out of the festival, Del Toro, Guillermo, served as he had to get director's insurance on this because presumably poor health or whatever. So basically the backup director, like, if you die, who's going to finish this, was Del Toro. And Del Toro says, like, he was always Del Toro's like, he was always good to do it. It's just something like we do that for like buddies or whatever. We sign off on each other's movies kind of thing. But he was also like advocating for, like, is this last movie, like, can we do some sort of a big theatrical release? Like, can we get it out there somewhere? So I think it is going to play New York and LA, like, limited, but it'll be up on Paramount Plus same day. So October 6th, we get the final Friedkin movie. And again, I don't want to get, like, over it. It sounds like it's just a courtroom drama, but I mean, the last couple that were like, oh, I'm going to adapt a play, fucking Killer Joe and Bug, which are amazing movies. So I'm very excited, and I haven't seen Kiefer in anything in a while, and Jason Clarke's just, he's just always crushing it, man. I will miss him as Jerry West.
In a while?
I haven't. Yeah, I didn't do Rabbit Hole. Oh, I did see him sneaking around in the cast. Okay, all right, that's a good tease for that. Okay, we will be back. I guess we'll see you in October, guys.
Yeah.
Works
for me.
Well, yeah, whatever we'll be recording in the next couple weeks won't come out until then. But yeah, this was our tripping into fall episode. Hope you enjoyed it. Thanks for sticking around if you made it this far. If you're only usually here for the horror content, it is coming, and we're actually going to do some shit this year. So
we
stick around for ARKTOBER 2023. Until then, I have been Noah.
And I've been Gavin.
And we've been the Blanchard brothers. This has been the ARK of E podcast, and we thank you very much for listening.
That's right, Noah. We thank you so much for listening. And we promise you kids out there, we're coming with the horror content pretty soon. It's going to be a scary good time.
It's going to be hip. It's going to be groovy. It's going to be sexy.
Yeah.
It's going to be fresh.
I hear the kids like that power line. I feel like he's got it. He's got all the hits. I can't wait to take my son to the
I hear he's got whatever it takes.
He does.
It's a piece of cake.
It is a piece of cake to stand out
above the crowd, even if I gotta shout out. Yeah. Mine is the only face you see.
The blackest stand ever.
Do you notice me?
Dude, the fact that was Tevin Campbell, like, how do you? I mean, again, perfect. The most perfect Disney movie of the 90s.
Is that where we're leaving it?
I don't know. I mean, you always want to leave them wanting a little bit more.
Or in the case of our podcast, a little bit less. You want to leave them thinking they should have wrapped this shit up a while ago.
Join me next time when I'm going to be reading excerpts from The Princess Bride by S. Morgenstern. Thank you and have a lovely evening, folks.
Have a pleasant evening. And one more thing. I'm Peter Falk.
And in spite of me being Peter Falk, I'm just here to tell you that.
I think that's why Perry Mason didn't make it.
Really?
Because Perry Mason, the character, didn't have like one more thing. That's why he didn't get a third season. If it had been Columbo, Is that right?
That could make sense, yeah.
Columbo's Peter Falk. Columbo does the...
Yeah, Columbo's Peter Falk.
One more thing.
One
more thing there, Judge.
One more thing.
But I'm saying, if Perry Mason had one more... Like, does he have a thing? He doesn't have a thing.
No, his whole thing is like... I mean, I hate that show got canceled because it was so fucking good period-wise, but like... He doesn't. You're right. He doesn't have a thing.
If it was Columbo, it would have gotten to season 3. I'm just saying. But nobody can play Peter Falk.
Let's get Robert Downey. Let's get Matt Reeves. Let's do a Columbo remake.
Dude, I don't know if it's still coming out, but the last thing. This is it.
Okay.
If it is in fact coming out, oh my God, now I can't.
Keep searching. You'll find it, son.
Keep vamping.
You've always had it within you.
Oh my God, what is it called?
The whole world believes in you.
God,
You just gotta keep
The
going.
Sympathizer.
The Sympathizer.
We were talking about non-related stuff.
Oh.
It's a new HBO limited series starring Robert Downey Jr.
Oh.
about a half French, half Vietnamese man who served as a spy for communist forces during the Vietnam War and gets involved in the making of a Vietnam War movie. And anyways.
Is it like Traffic Thunder? But only serious?
It's what it sounds like, kind of. Here's the big thing, though. My boy Park Chan-wook is directing most of it. So that's what I'm excited about. But also Downey Jr.
You say Park Chan-wook? Is that his name? Park Chan-wook?
Wook.
Well, Park Chan-wook. Wook or woke? Walk?
You could argue that Park Chan-wook is definitely not Park Chan-wook. I mean, we probably love him all the more for it. I don't know. That's not to say that he's like, you trapped me. You fucking trapped me. We're ending the episode before I put my foot much further in my mouth.
All right. Well, enjoy the taste of that old rickety boot.
Yeah, just one more thing.
Just one more thing. That's entertainment.